and we had a giant fun time.
That's true. Yep, all of these things are accurate, and yeah, that's a pretty good summary of what happened. The only things I would add in is the mysterious Ultar were headed towards the refugee ones for some reason, probably to chat, who knows.
Hmm.
Um, but you guys
I'm
stopped.
sure it was to bring supplies because they're so friendly and supportive.
Yeah, yeah, you know what? Yeah, absolutely. Uh, but you guys put a stop to that, and let's see. Oh yeah, yeah. Out of character, there was some implication that like maybe heading following the river to chat with some of the other clans to see what's going on in the political world of the Sulatar in the city-state of Alamcusp, which should be pretty straightforward and not morally gray in any way. Uh, but let's
So
bring.
when we left off, I think we decided that the best course of action was to just go to the closest place first, which was Gwenad Cool,
Yep.
and just get the lay of the land and figure out what we need to figure out.
Yeah, pretty much. And that seemed like a good idea. So if no one else has anything, we'll go in. The muggy morning air of Mishann is already filled with countless flying insects, as well as the sounds of the nearby jungle and river. And you're all looking upwards at the bulk of this massive ship, uh, which your new allies, High Lady Wayrub and Lord Olenquai, have told you is an ancient elemental galleon. It certainly has some of the traits of one of House Lyrander's signature ships. The lack of sails and binding strut are seen nowhere else, on Corover at least. But there are some very key differences. It has two sets of binding struts, and the entire thing looks to be made of metal or maybe some kind of. There's definitely some parts that look less reflective, so maybe something like ceramic. There's no wood anywhere in sight on the entire structure. Another dead giveaway is that just the sheer size of it. Um, while Lyrander ships do get that large, this would be on the upper end of what they typically build. Um, but Lady Wayrub, who seems to have been put in a better mood by like all of your, eh, I wouldn't say like shock, but I feel like some of you at least are a little visibly surprised at seeing this. Um, she seems to be kind of back on the right foot at that. You get the impression she's definitely been trying to play catch up for a couple days now. He was not expecting to run into weird foreigners in this like ruin that she had as a backup plan. We've already done a cursory check on the interior of the ship, and it seems to have suffered no lasting damage from its storage. Our engineers may not be quite up to Gizbul clan standards, but I believe him. All we need to do is get the ship to the water before we can attempt to bind the greater elementals to it.
Hmm. How
And for
onerous a task does that seem?
well, yeah, for to paint a better picture, I just realized. So you're about 500 feet from the point where the still largely intact streets of Mishan kind of go to the waters of the river. Jump here and show you. Let me zoom out. There we go. And yeah, here we go. So yeah, we're about here. Once the map decides to load on my screen. But yeah, that's about where you are. It'll need to travel some way across the stone into the water.
Come on, map. Why you be this way?
Okay.
Am I seeing the same thing everyone else is seeing? Because all
I don't know.
I
what
see
are you
the
seeing?
village map.
just the village map. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't see any pings or anything, so I was like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, here. Yeah.
Oh, there. Okay.
Yep. Bing, bing.
It was just
Ping,
not
ping.
loading for me. I had to refresh.
Oh,
Hmm.
you're good. But yeah, so it's about 500 feet roughly, give or take, to the water. In a foot wise, it's about 300 feet long. Big ship. And yeah, Lady Weirub just continuing. If you guys are just kind of taking this in and probably doing some mental math, it's
How
unfortunate.
many
Oh yeah, go ahead.
giants would this have carried?
This would be like looking at the side of it, you can see a crane and a pretty good sized there is a ship term, but a nautical term, but I don't know it. The the grate in the middle of the ship where you would put things down into the lower section of the ship. I don't know
The
the name.
hold?
The hold, yeah.
Well, no, that's the area below. The grate is something else.
Yeah, but into the hold, whatever it's
Yeah.
called. There's a pretty sizable crane next to that. So you would get that this would be maybe 10, 20 giants max. This would be like a small shipping vessel, it looks like.
But for us, it'd be
Oh,
significantly more.
Yeah, this is
it's
as big as
enormous
ships
to
get.
us.
Yeah. Yeah, this is as big as you guys build ships by and large. Well,
So it's like a
most ships.
galleon, basically.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's very much a galleon.
Is it sized for? I'm guessing it's sized for giants.
Yes, it is.
How are you supposed to sail this thing?
You simply command the elemental, and it moves the ship. And he pushes his hands as if to illustrate that.
The way
That-
we do it
What does
is
that mean?
we
Can we talk to him?
we get 3 people and sit on each other's shoulders and wear a trench coat. That's how we can crew the ship.
they're not sure
It's
what
not
to
the
make
worst.
of that.
It's not the worst idea.
I mean,
But-
we got a really big long cloak.
We do.
The two Silitar lords do kind of give Purser a sharp look.
Do
And
they understand him? Because I'm
Oh,
speaking
yeah.
common. I'm not speaking Elvish.
That's true. Yeah, never mind.
So I'm
Language
just
barrier.
they're just
So you're
watching
just
him
making
push his hands
noise.
back and forth.
Yeah, while there's some insane ideas brandied about. And yeah, Lady Waver basically says the same thing Purser did. When she summarizes that you're trying to come up with ideas to pilot it. No, there's no need for that. You simply attune to the ship's the elemental control helm and pilot it thusly.
And it just does it by itself.
Of course.
I'm not terribly familiar with the house that does this for us, so
Pick is just getting into all the cabinets right now.
it's good to know.
It is a fascinating process by which the boat essentially becomes the body of the elemental.
Does the elemental ever escape?
It has been known to happen, but not recently, as far as I'm aware. Lyrandar has very good control measures in place.
Well, okay, that's great. What about the giants? Since they're the ones that made this.
I don't know.
I look at our drow friends.
Was that in common? I'm just
I
been
would
assuming.
Yeah, I mean I would explain our somewhat humorous conversation to maybe give them some of the humor of this conversation and then so about the giants' control of this.
Well, they're both caught off guard that you guys are aware of an elemental galleon at all. Like they were very much like they thought they were showing fire to like Stone Age people. They were like, you just flick this thing here, and this Bippo lighter, makes fire. They're kind of caught off guard that you know about this. Um, but yeah, they recover a little bit. And no, the bindings ensure that outside of catastrophic damage, they typically stay bound. Your people have unlocked this?
Yes, but obviously maybe not to your standards because we have had elementals escape.
Mercer
As-
is
I've heard about it.
he's like visibly consternated because he can't correct Siltalis.
Damn this language barrier.
I mean, Sultalis is probably the most she knows about this whole thing is that there was a sensational story in a newspaper one time, and it just kind of, this is not her forte. She's relying on the quote unquote experts for her information, and it seemed like a reputable paper. So she totally heard about it from a reputable source and doesn't understand why Purser might be consternated. It's like I read it in the Sharn Times. What are you talking about? It has to
the
be
Sharn
true.
Inquisitive.
It has to be true.
Yeah.
Oh, it's certainly true, but the times you have to keep in mind the timescales we're talking about here.
Well,
He's happy to correct you, but the elves do not understand the word he says.
Yeah,
no,
they're
she's
just politely
just
waiting.
she's just giving him like I'm sure at this point they can tell that she and Purser kind of have this weird like back and forth going.
Yeah.
It's almost like a friendly rivalry to a certain extent.
Lord Olenquai seems more amused than Lady Wayrub, who's just like a little impatient. But
Apologies. We're just, it is fairly common. It's expensive for a normal person to travel this way most of the time, but it is common enough that we know what it is.
well, that is good. Certainly will save time. Yes, it's a fairly simple method of which to attune to it. Actually, you know what? As you said that one sec, she's going to do an insight check because she's having a hard time believing this, especially with like Hersher seems sure of what he's saying, but he could just be the better liar among you guys. The rest of you sounded like idiots. She's gonna quick check.
Ouch! I've been nothing but obliging and honest and upfront with this person. How dare?
High noble stuff. 18. Yeah, she's genuinely caught off guard that you're not lying. The trench coat, to her credit, the trench coat idea being bandied about. All right.
Well, that's just to be very clear. That is a rather normal joke, but it's usually applied to the shorter races like goblins and kobolds.
Okay, that helps. All right, humor doesn't cross language barriers very well. But the moment that you're like, oh, it's vaguely racially motivated, light bulb goes off, and yeah, she's good with it.
Yeah, I can respect that.
Amazing. Too
Yeah.
funny.
She says, well, so there's no need to explain it too much then. It is unfortunate, but without anyone from the Yrnix clan with us to perform the proper rituals, we'll be forced to simply exhaust the elementals so they're drawn into the ship. If we can weaken them enough, the ship should take care of the rest. It'll need to fuel them. It'll need to use them as fuel regardless to wake up, so to speak. This is what was explained to me. So if we simply weaken these elementals, then it should be more or less handled.
Hmm.
And yeah, while she's talking, Olin Kwai, who sees that she's handling it, goes over and starts like getting crowds of the Sulatar clansmen, well, men and women, come forward, and like they're going to the edge of the settlement around here, where it hasn't been cleared beyond like the minimum level, because you like haven't gotten to farming there yet, and they start like working on chopping down bigger trees and things like that, um, rolling them forward when they start to come down. And he comes back and says, "We will have the trees required for rolling the ship out onto the river in roughly 3 days. Excuse me, High Lady, honored allies." He nods a bit gravely towards all of you before going forward and helping out with the work, carefully setting his gear aside. Um, for her part, Lady
So
Wayrib doesn't really seem interested in that and just sighs slightly. She says, "You'll have to excuse his behavior. Clan Olenquai has produced some of the finest warriors of Alamcusp, but being trained for the battlefield above all else can weaken someone's etiquette."
oh, it's fine. We're not. She kind of waves. We're not very formal right now. It'll come. Don't worry. But at the moment, we kind of just what needs doing gets done. She
Hmm,
smiles.
yeah. Yeah, she nods gravely, like that's the sacrifices you're making. Yeah, I feel like she's apologizing for him, like, doing
Yeah,
work
no.
himself.
No, it's fine. There's just a cultural clash and difference. It's not like
Yeah,
they're fighting or anything, or this is offensive. It's just like, we are civilized. It's just, right now we're trying to get our shit together, but like more polite.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, she accepts that. Like that explains so much, she figures. Um, but yeah, did you guys have anything you wanted to um say to her or
I
anything
would
like that?
ask her if anyone needs healing or treatment of any kind. I want to make sure that the children well fed.
No, your efforts earlier were very much appreciated and handled all of the immediates that I'm aware of. I'll check again with Olin Kwai, but I imagine this will probably take, well, as said, roughly 3 days. So if anything happens, we'll let your folk know. We don't have any of the clergy with us at the moment for obvious reasons.
Question for you. Is your
Yes.
ultimate goal to return to the city?
Mm, no, not the city. I would like to eventually bring my folk back and reclaim our clan hold, assuming we can solve the problem of Alum Cusp. If not, then this would stay our new home.
She nods. She doesn't really seem to have any feelings one way or the other about that. She seems like she was just curious to understand long-term plans. Um, I know that this is kind of a question of this could be a short conversation, a medium conversation, or a long conversation, depending on how much you want to share. Perhaps we could discuss in depth the politics of the region so we understand better how we can assist where possible. Basically, she's like, give me all the gossip,
Yeah,
you know?
she actually perks up a bit at that. She's uh yes, whenever you'd like. At the moment, probably the rest of the day I need to see organizing work parties. Unfortunately, Lord Olenquai is going to be busy for such tasks, but at any point after the day has passed, I would be happy to go over such things.
Feel free. My my house is rather humble, but you are welcome to join me and my family and my friends. She kind of waves at our hodgepodge little group. It's humble, but you know, it's well seasoned. She smiles.
Yeah, she nods, like keeping a neutral expression. She assumes she's missing some type of like reference, and yeah, get here too. But yeah, if that's then she's just gonna go and start like, as she said, organizing work parties, setting up things, or the people are getting water sent out, stuff like basic detail work.
hmm I'll tell
And
everybody we're gonna have dinner at my place, and then ask her all the questions about the politics of the region. This is to the party.
Hmm.
Sounds riveting.
Yeah, Pick just kind of like little forearm shrug.
I will, of course, accompany you, Sotalis.
Yes, that's kind
Good,
of I
good.
need everybody there.
You know, you're lucky your face is the way it is, or I say no. Okay.
She's just like, is that a good thing?
inspiration to Bemmy. That's the best awful compliment I've ever heard.
Like, Bemmy, is there something wrong with my face?
No, it's fantastic.
Okay.
Best face I ever seen.
Aw, thank you, Bemmy. You are also very handsome.
That being said, Bemmy did spend much of his time growing up in the company of a hag.
And the dead. Those were the nice people.
I like if it's just like a pebble or like a leaf or something, I throw it at Purser's face.
There's
Hey,
there's like half-formed bricks everywhere you could easily whip one at me.
If she throws anything big, I will cast shield.
No, it's like she's not trying to hurt you. She's just you're an asshole kind of situation.
He's like covering himself with his arms. I'm sorry. I'll be looking at the boat if you need
Be
me. and we'll
nicer.
scurry
What
off.
is wrong with you?
Uh,
I get the
uh,
feeling Purser was the kid that reminded the teacher that they had homework to turn in.
Oh, those were the worst.
Well, yeah, those are the ones that become silver pyromancers in our school.
yeah, that's true.
Oh my god.
Just the fucking nerds get to be wizards.
That's what my own headcanon is. That's part of why Purser deliberately refers to it. Like, it's not just the fact that technically his title is Templar. It's also like all of the fucking jocks who went on to be paladins. We're like you're not even gonna be a Templar. Shut up. It's-
God.
As he's getting shoved into lockers.
yeah, exactly. I'll just misty step out, and they just start kicking the locker.
They just cover up the hole so you can't see
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Anyways,
Yeah, Purser will spend the time just examining the bindings on the ship. He's no, like, Zill mage binder, but he knows some of the theory, so he can at least examine it.
yeah, just at a cursory glance, they seem they're it's all still intact. Like, this thing's been sitting in here for tens of thousands of years, but maybe it was like a sealed environment, to be fair. That could have been a factor. And the
Yeah,
fact
all
that
the
none of
stuff in
it's
the other
wood.
place was intact as well, so
Yeah,
it's not surprising.
built to last. And definitely not a thing to cover the absurd timeline, like the incredibly huge timeline that's in Eberron. But yeah, looking at it, it just cursory glance seems to match their claims. And once again, you're not familiar with the whys and hows, but the fact that there's two struts are better than one, presumably. Like, I doubt Purser would say it that way to the rest of the group, but privately, like, maybe that's good. Maybe it's really inefficient. Maybe this thing will be like way slower than the regular ones, and you'll get to kind of humble brag about your people's stuff. But
Yeah,
Still,
if he was a Lyrandar, he'd like instinctually know like in what
yeah.
ways that makes it
Oh
better,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
he doesn't know enough to be able to elucidate that.
And the fact that they're implying that this doesn't like unless they have maybe all of these guys have those dragon marks and you just haven't seen it yet, but they seem to be implying that you can just control these things without a dragon mark, which is significant. So,
Which
It's
would
not an
be a
unknown either.
huge.
A lot of giantish artifacts have that property.
But I mean, it would kind of be a blow to Lyrandar's monopoly, wouldn't it?
No more
only if
than
it
any
can.
of the other dragon marked items that we find in giantish artifacts.
Yeah, the shtick is if it can be mass produced, that's when they get concerned.
Mhm.
Like if it's something that can be duplicated relatively easily, or even just eventually, that's when they get nervous. If it doesn't interfere with the monopoly, they're not going to lose their shit over like a ship or an airship that doesn't need a dragon mark. It's when it's like, hey, we're opening a shipping service with our fleet of non-dragon mark required elemental galleons. Then you might start having some shenanigans. um, but yeah, seems and like on closer inspection, as you feel along parts of it, some of it is definitely that fire bronze, but other parts of it do seem to have the consistency of like some kind of ceramic, just as it looked. So maybe that's
Fascinating.
part of why it lasted so long.
And is there an elemental bound, or do we have to track one down?
There is not, but they had showed you at the end of the previous session they had two
Oh,
huge
right.
blood glass
Yeah.
orbs with like apparently pretty potent elementals bound in them.
Right.
Which they do allow you to like check those out as long as you're not like trying to smash them or something.
Walking up with a hammer.
Yeah, like you can feel the energy in them just as a caster approaching it, and like for one, there's just constant beads of perspiration on the sides of it, and whenever they move, there's a sloshing sound, like they're filled with water or something, or
Mhm.
liquid at least. And yeah, you would bet it's definitely holding some kind of water elemental.
Excellent.
Yeah, but anything else you guys wanted to do for the day, or because it's gonna take them, like I said, about 3 days to set up a row of logs to just kind of roll this thing across.
They take all the time they need. Do they need any help? Do they need materials?
I mean, they wouldn't say no to somebody going out and helping them do some timber stuff, but
I mean,
it's
at
up
the
to you
very
for now.
least, yeah, I'll give them a hand.
Okay. Yeah, they may be snobbish normally, but they're not going to turn down an extra set of hands to make the work go faster. And yeah, anybody else want to do anything? Or we
Nope.
go ahead
Pick
a
will
little
help.
bit? Okay. Yeah, that evening, all of you, including anybody working in the wood line, which they're doing shifts, so they're just you get the feeling that like the shifts are smaller during the day, with everybody wearing those goggles, but um, the shifts at night, the timbering actually, the lumbering, there we go. Lumbering actually increases in effort. Mishann is
Purser's been
about to become
sleeping with like a pillow wrapped around his head to block out the sound.
yeah, Mishann is about to become a lot more of a 24-hour village. Um, but yeah, that evening, you guys are called to the governor's building at request of the governess.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, approaching it, while it is certainly bigger than the rest of the homes, it's not really very impressive yet. It's an entirely new structure, so maybe some of the foundation is repurposed giant stones like a lot of the others, but yeah, it's just big right now, a little plain. Um, but given that it's a place for votes and councils and the governess, it's decent. You get the feeling the town it'll grow. It'll grow with the village. But the governess is waiting for you in her office on the second floor. Um, uh, the room doesn't have a whole lot in it besides a long ornate table that you immediately recognize as the one she held meetings at when she was only in her large tent. Um, just because it looked out of place then. Um, it looks a little better here, although it's still like way more ornate than the rest of the room. Um, there's beautiful golden filigree, classic sire patterns, all abstract lines and shapes. Um, this is probably something she took with her when she had to leave and move to Sharn, and she brought here. Um, or not. Maybe it's just expensive and she bought it. But the governess is speaking with the guard captain, who gives a bit of a smile when you come in, although the governess just looks tired. She says, "Ah, there you are. Good to have you bunch here. A few things I wanted to go over with you now that we have our allies here in Mishann with us. Um, First of all, I'm assuming that you've noticed that they outnumber us a fair bit. According to the paperwork I've received from High Lady Wayrub, which she carefully, like, you get the feeling she's just kind of mentally trying to adjust to the titles. Their number is 507, including their 60 warriors, I suppose, soldiers. Glances glances at you guys, see if you have any better terms.
Pick
Mercer
shrugs.
just shrugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Neither Captain Araglin nor I particularly like being outnumbered in our own settlement, especially since our own forces are somewhat less. Uh, the captain adds in, less nothing. We've got exactly 15 light infantry militia, me, half a dozen heavy men-at-arms, and you lot. The governess just nods. Right you are, Captain. We've been discussing how we might remedy that imbalance in the near future, and the captain here had an excellent idea. Raglan
Pick looks
just,
expectantly.
yeah, she just looks a little offended. So need to sound so surprised, governess. Uh, I told her that a lot of Cyrus soldiers ended up working with House Deneath, just because they had no other options after the war. I know they'd jump at the chance to be working for Sire in a new homeland instead of those bloody mercenaries. Um, so, and yeah, the governess. I reached out to Prince Orgav and asked him if there was a way to get those men out of Deneath and on their way here to Mishann.
how's
He
that
actually,
going?
well, he told me that a relative of his had recently earned a sizable favor from Deneath. He didn't go into any details, but apparently they owe him. So he's going to try and get them to put together a platoon of Sire veterans from their hirelings. So they're not actually house members, so there's none of the complications. They're simply hirelings. And we'll then officially hire them, and they'll come here to do their work. And when the contract expires in a year, they'll just settle down here in Mishann. Assuming Deneath cooperates, it should solve our problem, both of forces and well, population, pretty quickly.
That is quite a handy answer to the problem.
I like it.
Well, I wanted you to know about this so you didn't do anything rash. We, I want you to keep the drow in the dark about this until just before the new soldiers arrive with the usual monthly wave of settlers. If it works out, we should be expecting between 50 and 100 trained soldiers to be joining Mishann because, well, it's apparent we can't keep neglecting military force here.
Now, they'll be briefed that at the current time, these are our allies, correct?
Oh, yes, but it's allies or not, they don't
I'm not.
seem foolish. I believe they'll notice that we don't have a very big force to push back with here.
An ally kept at arm's length.
Well, I'm not
Precisely.
arguing that we don't need to reinforce ourselves. I'm just saying I don't want the first thing that happens when they come through is to, oh, those drow. You know,
No, it's should be communicated clearly.
should be. Stop, Cairo.
What were you saying first?
That was just a laugh at Cairo.
Okay. But yeah, this was kind of, you get the feeling that you guys have earned a de facto position in like the closest thing to the governess's cabinet by the fact that like you survived going south. You've solved multiple problems, so you know you're people of note, um, as adventurers tend to be.
My
And yeah,
superiors will be very happy about this.
yeah, that's all she had. And what do you like? Is there anything noteworthy you guys want to do until we'll call it a dinner party tomorrow night?
Purser's just going to continue working with the ship and understanding the bindings as best he can in case something comes up.
Okay.
Pick's gonna watch him like a creep.
Okay.
I would
Fair.
like to try and find some more powdered silver.
Okay. That is perfectly purchasable at Nat's shop. So.
Okay.
My girl will go ahead and set up a clinic because I have a feeling we're starting to get to that point in settling where
Okay.
I'm getting foot rot or something like shit like that.
Where do you want to set it up out of?
In the middle of town.
I will say the temple, you did kind of build that with an area set aside for that.
Yeah, that's
Since you
fine.
were building it in cooperation with Purser. And
Yeah, that'll work.
yeah, like next to the enormous statue that had to be repeatedly like moved and then changed. Uh, um, what's the name of the prophets? The Silver Flame prophet.
Oh, Tira?
Hera, yeah. Like I feel like Purser repeatedly tried to like sneak imagery of Tira into the temple, and they're like, no, it's supposed to be
No.
multi-faith. Fine, we'll
Yeah,
put cover.
he's respectful of it. Like, she
Tell
definitely
T-
appears in like the silver flame, like
Mhm.
cloche, whatever. But yeah,
Tell
he's leaving the
Tira
rest of
to
it open to
step
the
out of
host.
the bear suit.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, then regardless, you do have an office that is well stocked to serve as a kind of clinic. And
Well,
yeah.
she doesn't charge other than, a donation because supplies are not like she needs to replace her supplies.
Hmm.
That's all she asks is something to replace the supplies that I'm using.
Yeah. And that gets a lot of like it's clearly very appreciated by the settlers, because, you know, normally you pay for medical care, like duh. Uh, uh,
Well,
They're
not
used,
right now.
they're used to dealing with Jurasco.
yeah, exactly. I need your
Well,
life savings for a second level healing spell. Fuck you.
right now, Jurassic has no say over this. So,
That's true. Um, but yeah, it's very appreciated by the townsfolk. Everybody's happy to donate a little bit. Um, it takes the drow, I'm gonna say, won't start coming in till like the third day, just because, not out of any serious aversion to it, but they're not interacting much with the other with like the Corover settlers very much. So like word doesn't get across until it's mentioned that, hey, there's like I have a clinic if you have injuries. And then they'll start to trickle in. But
Yeah, I'm expecting like injuries, poisonings, somebody's giving birth,
once you open it up, the drow do have at least as many injuries as like in dealing with the jungle as the Corover settlers. Like they don't seem any more adjusted to wandering through the fucking jungle, or at least not much more than the other settlers. Like you kind of gotten used to Bemi and the tribals who were just like, yeah, it's just going. We have to fight off 3 venomous snakes. Go and get water. Like that's life.
I love
you
that.
got foot rock? You need a donkey kicking.
Yeah.
You need an ear nail.
But yeah, you guys, that's definitely within realm of possibility. Did I say what silver powder costs before? I think it's just like a
It's like
direct.
50.
Yeah, it's just spell reagent, so
Yeah,
X.
yeah, perfect. Works for me.
Could I set a series of trap lines to help get more meat for the town? Whether it's somewhere in the forest, woods, fishing, anything like that.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna work better in the woods.
Yep.
But yeah, go ahead and give me a survival check to set this up well.
Let's give it a shot, guys.
Okay. You're fairly satisfied with them. And it's not until the second day that you accidentally catch a few of the Sulatar drow who are vocal in their complaints about like you setting traps for them. Some vague, like, probably not quite slurs, but not friendly words are thrown at you about the whole thing, like damn tribals setting up traps, that type of thing.
Tribals! Definitely those tribals setting those traps. Can't believe those tribals would set traps like these.
Oh yeah, that is a good question. Did the
Yeah.
Sulatar recognize Bemi the same way that the tribals did?
Well, Bemi, are you still kind of openly wearing that mirror?
I mean, it's. I mean, he's got a big one at his treehouse, but.
The little black mirror amulet that, like, the shard of super.
Oh,
power
that's
should
like
sit
yeah.
on.
I still have it on.
Okay, yeah. If you're still wearing it openly, like, usually, especially when you went to help, like, they were relatively, they were kind of opening up to you, and then inevitably someone would spot it, and then people just stop talking to you again, like immediately. Like it's not quite the same level of like just don't engage. We don't want to piss her off as like, ooh, all right, well, good luck with that. It's like how I imagine civilized people deal with somebody who's like wearing a Scientology shirt or something. Like
A mild neglect, like that of a homeless
yeah,
person or a stray dog.
yeah. It's like, ooh, okay, well, no, and plus the fact that you're clearly not like you're not wearing any of the stuff they wear, so you're almost certainly not a Sulatar, but you don't have any of the tribal markings, so you're weird. Like they're not really sure how to categorize you. And then they see that and it's like, oh, he's some type of weird cultist. Like they just kind of leave it. That seems to be the assumption. But nobody's like, it does ensure nobody's openly insulting you anymore. The moment they see that, nobody's like cursing at you. But yeah, the dinner party arrives at the Sendar house. Are you like laying out the fine silverware or anything? I don't know if you have.
I have no fine silverware. I warned her. if she is surprised, I said it like 4 times.
Oh, you did. No, I was just asking. Like, are you telling your sister like best behavior? Or are you just like reining them
I
in?
do tell the siblings like, y'all, can you act like you have manners? Just for a few hours. Just a few hours. That's all I'm asking.
There's some like puffy, vague angst from like the 2 oldest ones, but the youngest just seems excited that there's like those weird new people. Like everybody's seen them around town now, so
Yeah.
yeah, she's just excited. um, but let's see here.
What's the dress for the occasion?
There you go.
I mean, wear clean. The dress is clean.
Darn.
I
Bemmy
guess I'll
asked
go
that, and she's
somewhere
like,
else then.
Can you take like a bath?
You're lucky your face looks the way it does. I'll take a bath.
As he
Purser is
leaves,
happy to provide bathing facilities.
Oh, there you go.
as he leaves, she looks at like Pick or whoever's still around, maybe Lidger. She's like, I still am not exactly sure if that's a good thing or not. You know?
Pick
Ludger
just
will
looks at her
respond.
confused.
Ludger will respond. I think it is, but he's trying his best.
Pick. They
He's a
all
good
have.
lad.
Pick. They all have like. You're too polite to say it. But they all have very weird faces. So like, from a bug person's perspective, it's like you all look kind of freakish. So like, it's not to say you can't have preferences. Like the ones that glow bright are interesting. And the ones that dream are fun. But from a physical perspective, I feel like it's like, and this is probably a bad example given the internet, but this is like saying you find like lizards attractive or something. It's just not. There's a big barrier
Damn.
there.
Have
Mammals are
you
fucking weird, dude.
Yeah,
have
yeah,
you
exactly.
heard of the lusty Argonian maid?
That's why I said I know the internet has sullied the minds of everyone here, but yeah.
I will, just to chime in. Firstly, when it comes to preparations, I would say Ludger would do his best to try to help Sultaris or Satalis set things up. And I would also say, at this point, poor Ludger is starting to get like sad by Bemmy's poor, his determined
Lack
but
of game.
his lack of game. And while Ludger is not exactly a verbal pickup artist, he would basically be sitting, every once in a while, be sitting Bemmy down to basically try to teach him, like poetry, for the idea of at the very least, letter writing if he can't,
Okay.
do verbal pickups.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
god.
very old, like almost, what's the term? Like kind of the musketeer stuff where like it's similar to how Ludger dresses, like very big hats, kind of overdressed almost, and like the wooing process is hilariously over the top. Like Crover is a big enough place where like that's hilariously out of fashion in say Sharn, but some parts of Karnath that's still like an old fashioned thing to do. So yeah, you could
Well,
be taking him through it.
Ludger's whole thing is like, writing love letters and poetry is how I got my wife. So,
Yeah. Oh
maybe I
no,
can
no, it's
maybe I can
it's
help Bemmy out here.
yeah. Like, and it's not a bad idea. If Bemmy shows interest in it, then it could work out. Uh, Bemmy is like, are you humoring your weird friend, or is this like, oh, okay, like,
You want to teach me how to write different? That's what it sounds like.
No, I'm trying to, I'm trying to teach you how to write in a way that that catches the eye of, as you would call her, silly.
Oh, you want to teach me how to write better?
In a way.
Ah! I mean, that's
But
what.
There's
What's
all manner, there's all manners of way of writing,
uh-huh.
and in this way, you use different formats for different things. In learning the poems and the old tales of courtly love, you can appeal to the object of your fancy's, desires.
Well,
I mean, it worked for me, lad.
I'm gonna start with a bath, though.
That would help.
Yeah.
And it is very nice of Purser to allow you access to his bathing facilities, because I feel like part of Bemi is not a dirty guy. At least I'm assuming he's not. But I think part of the aversion to it is if bathing involves going into the river here, like that is dangerous as fuck. Like this is this is bathing in like a combo of like Jurassic Park and Australia. Like everything is venomous, everything is oversized, and most of it's trying to eat you at best. Like
Things swim up places, and I don't like it.
yeah. So access to like a clean, non-infested source of water is very, very welcome, and makes the whole thing easier
Mhm.
and less
It's
dangerous.
heated and
Yeah.
It's
really
heat.
nice.
You have. So this is going to be Bemi's first hot shower that he has
Well,
ever had.
it's like a big like Harry Potter style bath, just like hot water pouring in and like soapy and steamy. And, oh,
Yeah.
So I'd say I could just imagine like what's this do? Turns it on to like max like hot, and then like the other room we hear like a high pitched shriek from Bemi as he gets hit with like scalding hot water
didn't even
and
know water could be that hot.
for the first time in his life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
It's like Mima's pot.
So,
That she let me touch over and over and laugh every single time.
Yeah, Bemi's toddler ages were bad. He usually healed them
So
up eventually.
usually.
Purser, for his part, arrives much less casual than he usually is. His formal coat is like buttoned all the way up to his throat, and he's got like a half cape slung over one shoulder. His hair is combed back and gelled down. He
Mm.
does, however, pull out a bottle of hot sauce to dump on the food.
Okay. That's
Pick
fair.
has very
Yeah.
little concept of what they would consider formal, so she just wears
Shows
her
up.
normal clothes. Yeah, she
Yeah,
just shows
yeah,
up.
like-
She's like, I don't really know what else to do.
Some people like to add beads and like beads or shells and stuff, like pretty things, but it's entirely just people being weird occasionally back home. Like there's no dress code. It's just some people like to add stuff to their clothes.
Well, she will definitely add. She'll go hunting for the evening after she gets tired of watching Purser like a creep, and would go hunt for shells and things to
Yeah,
decorate
I mean,
herself.
the
She gotta
and
spruce
actually,
herself up.
yeah, like if you were to go back, like when you go back home, if you show off the clothes with shells and stuff, it's a bit of a novelty because, like, you guys are pretty landlocked as far as the island goes. So most of what they have are, less stuff you'll find near the water, we'll say. So yeah, it's colorful and it clicks in a fun way when you move around. It's very interesting.
Yep, that's so she'll get that kind of fancy. Maybe paint some of them. She might
Yeah.
wear that one silver thing, that one silver link. I don't know if it's too big for her to wear, probably.
No, one of them isn't too big. The necklace was hilariously too big, but yeah, one of them is fine.
All right.
And
Gonna look weird as shit, but she's like, I'm killing it out here.
no, I mean honestly, it's not bad. You're not doing any like skull face paints or anything, so you could have to deal with much worse elven traditions. Um, but yeah. But yeah, so you guys are in various levels, dressed, bathed, de-stunk, however you want to put it, and at the Sendar home. And there wasn't any like official time given, so she'd probably show up about like 8, fairly early in the morning by her standards, but you know, she'll show up there and um yeah, Olenkai would come with her, although he actually looks a little bit irritated about the whole thing because he'd just rather be working, but he's technically a lord. He can't dodge this stuff. Like he is the high lord of the he is the lord of his clan. He has to go to things. So this counts as a political thing. So yeah, they both show up and allow you to show them to wherever they're supposed to sit or whatever. Do you like show them around the house or around the property, or is it just like come in, sit down here and here, or sit down wherever, and when there's plenty of food on the table type thing?
Yeah, no, she just invites she doesn't like jump right into it because that seems rude. But eventually, like pleasantries and food and maybe an occasional like sibling being a snot and getting stared at, like really, really.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, she
I was about to
definitely.
say,
Yeah, go ahead.
um, i- this is probably a bit of like a retcon thing,
Hmm.
but given that we're having a dinner party here, I feel that Ludger would have offered to have the youngest, most unbehaving members of her sisters go spend the evening with like his wife and kids. That way, like
Oh, at the Strom
they're not
house.
like
Yeah.
yeah, so they're not underfoot like causing a ruckus during this big important dinner.
Okay. Yeah, is that something Siltalis would be interested in? I,
yes,
I say yeah.
Yes.
Like I say, asking basically the de facto single mom. Yeah.
like yes, please, for the love of the gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um.
would say that would have happened then.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes the whole thing easier. And let's see, I should have the name here, but the uh the plant focused sister would probably try and get like weasel her way into that scenario too, just so she doesn't have to be here for all this fancy like it's hard enough to make her like scrub the dirt out from under her nails. She doesn't want to be here either.
That's fair. It's not like she required them to be here, but she's like, if you're gonna be here, you have to be nice.
Okay. Yeah,
You
so
have to
that
be
leaves you with
polite.
we'll say like two of them stayed. The I'm sorry I don't have the names yet. The divination focused one and the artifice focused one. Those are the ones who ended up staying.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, everybody
Sorry,
else is at
my
the Strom home. Yeah, go ahead.
my AC decided that the face was gonna like I don't know how else to describe it. Like you have to put the metal thing on a certain way so that a button is pushed, and it kept falling off. So we had to go full redneck and get some duct tape out.
Mhm.
That's fine. I
So
didn't hear anything, so you could. But yeah, there's a few to the best of effort pleasantries. Almost all Lady Wayrib. Although Olenquai like is a little more is a little more friendly with the younger siblings just because they seem like they're obviously young, so he goes a little bit into dad mode and like tries to be pleasant to them. Not that he's I guess they say he tries to be more open towards them, although it doesn't go very far because it's two teens. So although he seems very understanding about that, so that at least keeps him from being less gruff. Um, Lady Wayra pries a few questions, but you get the feeling she is the diplomat of the two by an obvious Margin. She a couple pleasant, nice, like most of her pleasantries involve like, you know, oh, these are of your family, you know, how many are there? Oh, you know, she seems surprised at how many you have in your immediate family, and she says, your family must command great resources to have so many. And yeah, just awkward cross cultural pleasantries.
Yeah,
Uh,
she doesn't really say anything about that. She'll leave that one alone. Um,
but,
uh, does she
yeah,
have any family that she, other than her father that she mentioned?
yeah, she goes a little stony faced at that and just says, not not in the aftermath of the plague.
I'm very sorry. Um, in order to move on from that real fast, she says, so tell us more. Okay, out of character, back up. We are planning on going to talk to a bunch of people? Question mark?
That's
With the
the
Um,
boat.
plan.
yeah, possibly.
And
I
maybe get
I'm
into
I
shenanigans.
I'm just trying to understand because basically what the goal that I as the player had was
Mhm.
if we're going to be running around talking to all of these non-tribal drow, we need to understand the
Yeah,
situation.
that is fair, and she's happy to explain it. Out of character, like you're basically going to be going between the surviving major clans and talking to some of them. Some of them might not be big on talking. A lot of different things, but each clan you're trying to undermine the current city states like junta that's basically in charge, because they want some bad things. Um, one of the things that was previously mentioned in character is that one of the clans is very focused on expansion, meaning like take over at least this whole island and maybe more. Which like her clan has like the Wayrub clan has traditionally been a they're sort of advisors. Eventually that led into being military advisors, but they're historians, advisors, scholars, and they're they were a big enough clan that they were able to push back against that very well. Um, just saying, hey, we don't want to invoke the madness of crowds, the curse that affects all of Zendrick, because that'll kill all of us. You know, it doesn't seem to have triggered with what we're doing now. Let's not change it. And then there's other clans that say, hey, we don't know what the setting, we don't know what triggers it, so you know, there's no guarantee that it'll happen if we take over the whole island or the whole island chain. Um, but yeah, that was one of the big conflicts. But in character, if you ask stuff, she says, well, I actually had some questions for you, and I'd be happy to go over things if you'd answer some of my questions.
Sure.
So I did want to ask, how did you get here? Either the Nuxarovo or the Biapo clans have noticed increased ship traffic around the islands. Not that they can watch all of the ocean, but I've
Hmm.
uh, there's a lot of you here, and I don't see any large ships.
Purser's happy to explain that one, but he's gonna need translation help.
Yeah,
Okay.
she'll translate for Purser, TLDR, not she would not say TLDR, but TLDR,
Yeah.
um, some enterprising folks from our neck of the woods discovered a strange portal that connects our home with this area specifically.
Oh, it's hardly strange. It's a very well understood phenomenon connecting Corvair and this island through
I
a demi-plane of Kyber, and he'll
she
just go
looks at
full academic.
she looks at him and she goes, "I understand that it's not strange to you, but for the rest of us, it is a little strange, especially given the weirdness I've heard that some people who go through the portal regularly experience."
Well, I suppose if
Anyway,
you look
so
at
it
it from
is
a
strange
specific perspective.
she explains, like, he is a pie in the sky kind of thinker. I'm more practical. Uh,
Purser just glares at her.
so it is strange from someone. It is a strange phenomenon for someone like me,
Yeah.
and to him, it's just academics. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
She nods somewhat. And like with a carefully, very good poker face. And Lord Olenquai just says, "What do you mean pastry in the sky? I don't understand."
She will find an elven equivalent metaphor for him to
Okay.
understand.
Yeah, academic
Then
who
he
knows
leads into
nothing.
Ludger and goes, "So is there pie or not?"
Yeah, she finds the elven equivalent of that phrase.
Yeah, I would say like a scholar who knows not where their feet tread or something.
Yeah,
Something
something like
like
that.
that. But
And you
yeah.
say that, but Templars are very grounded in practicality. They only really care about one thing.
Well, right now you're not acting like a
Evans.
Templar. You're acting like a nerd.
Well, yes.
He's both.
Purser has a brief flashback to trying to talk down the bullies. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah. She accepts that answer, although she's a little. She would ask for like more details. When it was found, like where is it? Like, that type of thing. Can we see it? Because this is kind of news to
Is
her.
this something that we were told not to share?
No, no,
I know we
said
were
not
told
sure.
not to share about the
The incoming
the
soldiers.
incoming
Yeah.
soldiers, but I think we're allowed to talk about this, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you haven't kept it secret from any of the tribal clans or tribes. Sorry.
Yeah, so she'll just say it's in the middle of town. It actually is fairly well traveled at this point. We get most of our supplies through this method at this time until we're more self-sufficient.
Yeah, and she's interested in just. And when did you find this?
I don't know. When did we find this?
I think Purser would know those details.
Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of approaching the timeline of everything from the perspective of Siltalis is kind of like
That's not
I
super
was
relevant
busy
to her.
I
Yeah.
was busy raising my siblings
Yeah,
kind
you
of
just
thing.
heard that this was like, hey, there's a new settlement. Like, no, I'm tracking that. Definitely
While you were
Satalis.
studying magic, I was raising children.
Yeah.
Which are monsters.
I was
Per-
stuck in a basement and told to do things I didn't want to do, and I also found out my friend was dead.
I'm really sorry about that, Bemmy.
Yeah, Persa, you know about this from the briefings you got from your friends.
Boss.
Um,
Also,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't remember if you ever told us, but where does the other end of the demiplane connect to in Corvair?
Actually, here I will ping it on the big
The
map.
name of the country literally just
Dargan.
popped into my head. Dargan. It's like in a rural part of Dargan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there was a lot of shenanigans that had to be done with the other party to set it up, but here in Dargan, I will ping it. It's right around
I mean,
here.
it's not
We're not on
like I
that
can
map.
see Dargan, so
Oh, I didn't put you on the map. That's probably a factor. Okay.
it's fine.
It's
I don't
right
care about
around here.
super specific details. I just was curious if it was like in like Sharn or something.
Yeah,
No.
no, it's a rural part of Dargan that And going through it is really creepy. If you go through more than once,
Mhm.
things change every time.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
a
gets
Shadow
weirder
Demi-plane
and
for you.
weirder. What?
That's a Shadow Demi-plane for you.
Yeah, no, like I'm telling you out of character. It gets
I
weirder
know.
and weirder.
But yeah, it makes sense that it wouldn't be discovered on the Corvair side because it was like in the what would be the backwoods of the fantasy equivalent of Afghanistan. Like there was not a lot of people there. So
No.
you don't really know how long it's been there. Here, it presumably is relatively new, or at least relatively new that it's active, because Purser, on your initial inspection of it, you found that there were a lot of arcane markings in, I think, infernal, basically fiendish type language that seemed to have activated this.
Mm.
It was very much on a scale of magic that is not typically practiced by mortal peoples. But it could just be an old thing. Demons are like the fiends are literally immortal. They don't have a time scale, so
Mhm.
who knows? So
Yeah,
yeah,
it was just a while back, so I didn't remember those details.
yeah, of course. But yeah, that's you guys can tell her that, and she's interested, but it's not immediately relevant, but she is interested that like you didn't sail here. That's why. Um, and yeah, and her next question is who who is in charge of the Sire people? I've noticed you all look very different in your dress, mannerisms. Jesus
Whoa.
Christ!
Oh,
Zach,
The
are you
hell's-
okay?
Is it the cat? It's got to be the cat.
What happened?
There's
It
like
I didn't
sounded like
hear-
you were rubbing styrofoam on your mic.
Or getting hit by lightning. One of the two.
That too.
Well, I'm not dead.
Which we're
Um,
very happy to hear.
You can still hear me okay
Yep.
right now, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good. Just sounded
It's
like styrofoam mic, yeah.
it.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, well, as
It, wa-
long as it
the,
wasn't
it
something.
wasn't plugged all the way into the jack. I'm sorry.
Ah,
guys.
okay.
No
Okay.
worries.
Cool.
So what did she ask? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, she was asking,
Why do we all look different?
yeah,
And
who's
who's
in
in
charge,
charge?
and why do you all look so weird? Like, she's trying to be polite about this, but you're all really different, and she can't tell who's in charge, and that's really hard for her to deal with.
So this is going to be fun explaining to her. She will explain our government, which is, I believe, a constitutional monarchy, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
she will
not as much as the
explain.
Breelish, but yeah.
She will explain that. We do have
Actually, sorry, Dan, was Sire a constitutional monarchy? Or was it just a monarchy still?
It was just straight up monarchy. It took
Yeah.
on the most Galifaran traits of Galifar.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like Louis the 14th level, like opulence, with like.
Is it still though?
It's so no, technically
I was
speaking.
about to say, I mean, it'd be kind of hard for them to be Louis XIV when Versailles is a smoking radioactive crater.
Right, which is why I'm like, what is it now? Which I feel like if we ascribe to any sort of monarchy, the people would have been like, no, we're going to have a say.
I mean, if
So
they wanted it.
it is still a monarchy, in as much as a monarchy can exist outside of a sovereign nation. But it's on one of like the fuzzy barriers with non-associated bands.
I
Yeah.
think
It's complicated.
I think she would probably end up describing it as a constitutional monarchy at this point,
Okay.
because I don't know how else I would explain it.
That's really the closest thing it could be, so it's a fine way to explain it.
Yeah, so she just explains constitutional monarchy kind of situation where our monarch does have power, but we also have checks and balances in place. in case they get a little too big for their britches. She wouldn't literally say that though.
Okay. Yeah. That would confuse her. Okay. Yeah, she nods. She seems somewhat familiar with that. We've in our history we tried things along those lines. We had a system of governance briefly where everyone had, well, all real citizens had an equal say. It didn't work very well. Um, but that thank you. Uh, but in the immediate, who the governess is in charge. Is this because of her blood or
She's most qualified for it.
ah?
How do you
We
tell?
do what?
How do you tell who is most
Her past
qualified?
accomplishments, her education, her connections.
Ah,
I'm trying to
well,
think like how to explain meritocracy to this kind of.
so she technically got like, yeah, she's technically qualified. She got the position because she's an old noble family, one of the only like sire noble families who's
I
still
don't think
available.
I don't know if Siltalis would have known that.
I mean, her last name means that she's noble. Like
Mhm.
the IR put in front of a name means
Hmm.
means noble family. Now it doesn't tell you
Well,
what scale, but
it's specifically from the original nobility of Galifar.
yeah, there you go. So, but
Yeah, like
within that, she could be qualified. I don't know. I'm just trying to add that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I legitimately don't know any of this, so I'm just kind of, since nobody else is talking, I'm kind of like, okay.
I mean,
Okay.
Perseer's happy to help because he's the smart one, but he needs translation, so
That's
a lot of
fair.
it's on Siltalis anyway.
Okay. Okay.
Like, okay. She is of noble blood, and of the survivors of noble blood, she was the best for this job. That's what she'll say.
Okay. That like she gets that. Like among nobility, it was the concept of like just pure merit was weird. Although not completely unfamiliar. Like they have systems like that. All right. So as your people have something like a clan structure. All right.
Sort of.
And they're
People can advance even if they don't have the familial connections in our world.
hmm. All right.
If they
Well,
are particularly
our
skilled at
clergy
something.
does this similar manner. That's almost none. Actually, you're required to forsake your clan if you join the clergy. So um, makes sense.
You okay over there, Bonnie?
Yeah, I'm
Me?
hearing some music.
Yes.
It's my mom texting me,
Okay.
and I
Okay.
didn't get to it before.
The dings. That's okay. But yeah,
My B.
she awkwardly explains that like it's possible to do social mobility in her society, but it's all revolves around the equivalent of the church or the temple, whatever. Um, but yeah, that does dovetail pretty nicely into well, and I understand that you're still unfamiliar with the political divisions of Alum Cusp, so it does seem prudent to explain further um, about the greater
I
clans and lesser clans as we encounter them.
right. Before we get started, I would like to explain a little bit about myself and my faith so that when I say my goal is peace, you understand. Um,
All right.
Purser leans in.
uh, I am the oldest of 5 daughters. My parents were killed fleeing the war that we've spoken to you about before. We experienced extreme poverty, and many people tried to take great advantage of us. And that was because of greed, selfishness, and no one caring about the individual in this war. I have dedicated myself to peace. Not at all costs. I will take up a weapon if need be. But my goal is to facilitate peaceful solutions when possible. I wanted to I wanted to learn of the situation so that we can come to a peaceful resolution if possible.
Well, that's actually good to hear. Not all of the folk we'll meet need to be destroyed, although some, sadly, will likely be the only real way forward. My own goal would be to remove those currently in power at Alum Cusp and return my homeland to a bit more of a stable state. In the aftermath of the plague, expansion is, as I said before, tantamount to, well, suicide. But it seems prudent to simply explain in the immediate. If you'd like further clarification or an explanation of groups beyond, I'd be happy to. But it is quite a bit for someone unfamiliar with any of it, and I mean no offense in saying that it may be a lot for all of you. And her eyes like quickly dart to Pick and Bammy.
I have no
No.
idea what food is being served, but that's what Pick is all about right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's listening, but she's just like,
Busy.
I,
Yeah.
I don't get.
You're busy with important things. Like these guys can babble about this stuff. But
I guess, yeah. If it's like just a buffet style,
yeah.
here at the table with everyone talking, Bemmy would walk over to Pick and be like, is that any good?
Yeah, I think you get. It's good.
Hey, I got a question.
What?
Is it easier to hit things when you stand still when you shoot your bow?
Yeah. Yeah,
I should try that.
better to stand still. Focus very well.
That's hard to do sometimes. That
It
my
is.
brain's everywhere.
Understand, but better to sit. Be still, focus. And it will hit. Each time.
Every time?
Most time.
Most time?
60%
I
of
don't
the
miss too
time,
much.
every time.
Every time.
I
Really
don't
trying
think
to
I miss
avoid
too
interrupting
much.
with that.
Okay.
We practice. You want practice?
Yeah, okay. I practice.
Yeah, we practice. We practice later when they done talking of this. Motions with one of her hands, like,
You'll have to find a couple good bees like wasp nests. It was like if you can find the right ones, you could train. You could try and train.
yeah. It better when wasp with wasp. We do later. We do later. She just
Okay.
On that hopeful note. But yeah, with like
And for the record,
yeah.
this Sultalis' little story would have been translated so that Purser could understand where she's coming from too.
No,
Okay.
Purser's got comprehend languages up. He can understand. He
Okay.
just can't
It's just all one way.
talk to the elves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
But yeah, so she says, well, if we're going to follow the Belfour River into Muldsar Lake, the first clan we would, whose territory we would enter, would be the Gwenad clan. They're a greater clan, which indicates typically higher status as well as more expectations.
So this guy?
Do you have like a map or anything like that to?
I would have gotten one for this.
Okay, yeah. Yes, that's Gwynedd Cull, their clan stronghold. They control most of the lake as well as much of the land on the northern stretch of the Kimben River, at least until one reaches the first island here in the river, and she'd indicate this.
Mm-hmm.
They've typically been moderates in their interactions with other clans and the clergy. They specialize in alchemical formulas with an emphasis on poisons. They're also undoubtedly the best slave trainers within Alum Cusp. A slave trained at Gwynedd Cull will be loyal, obedient, and skilled. Naturally, they don't handle large numbers in the same way some clans do, but they usually have a decent population of slaves within the clan hold.
It's pretty clear how Siltalis feels about that. Like that's not it's not hard.
Yeah, I mean, and that's they've come to accept that's just like a weird cultural thing that you seem to have about it. They're not gonna pry. Because once again, like this is like being against like I don't know, a DMV system or something. Like it's just part of how it's just a key element of how their society works. They don't understand. They kind of would in the abstract understand the moral arguments with it, but it's like trying to explain veganism to like a restaurateur in like 1920s New York. Like they get it, but you know, we serve meat. What the fuck's wrong with you? So yeah, the leader of Gwynedd is, well, the current is uh Esshor Shalvith Gwynedd. Um, the his first name is his personal name. The second is his immediate family, and third just indicates that he is an official member of the Gwynedd clan. All of his kinsmen have it. Those not in the clan typically only have two names and are somewhat less within our society. Uh, he's in his third century, was groomed for the position of clan head by his mother. I'm sure he didn't expect to be put into the job this soon, but the plague eliminated the rest of his family, a common story right now, as I'm sure you've ascertained. He's a genius with alchemy, and I've heard a decent mage as well, but he is odd.
In what way?
And she like kind of glances like, so I know Bemmy and Kick are busy. uh
She's kind of
Sulta-
paying attention. She's
yeah,
got like
like
one ear to it. She's like,
yeah.
I'm doing my best.
One antenna, but like you're listening, but it's like just on the periphery. Siltalis I know is kind of involved pretty directly. Purser is Purser listening? I
So
imagine.
Purser is involved in the discussion, but he is aware of the awkwardness of Sultalis having to translate, so he's mostly staying quiet unless necessary.
But you are like paying attention.
Yes.
Okay. And what is Ludger up to?
I would say Ludger is attentively paying attention. I'm trying to think of the exact like Benjamin Franklin quote, but it's basically a good diplomat like listens much and says little.
But so all
That's
three of you are like clearly paying
and
attention because he's just going off
yeah,
like how hard
and
you seem to be
yeah,
listening.
and also unfortunately as stated, I have to stay muted so for a lot of it, so I can't be as engaging as I'd like to be. But
No,
yeah.
no, that's fine. It was entirely just like her reaction to it. But Yeah, like she's kind of reluctant, but it's just you three. I feel like your sisters have found ways to excuse themselves at this
Oh
point.
yeah, they're just like, this is boring.
Yeah. Like once it started going into, oh, here's how names work, and so yeah, they've definitely left. Um, yeah, she kind of reluctantly continues. It's clear she doesn't like handling explaining interclan drama to outsiders. Like this is probably pretty scandalous to say. Um, when my family was handling marriage arrangements for me and my siblings, there was talk of him and I being married, or at least engaged. And I did actually meet him a few times to try and find out who he was underneath rank and skills. Escher is an unsettlingly calculating man, and at least then utterly uninterested in the things most noble scions are. He didn't gamble, uh, indulge in the ecstatic arts, or hunger for political power. He only really showed interest when I would mention when alchemical formulas or such things shifted the course of history, like the poisoning of the Council of Representatives during the Republic era, or when the ancient clans were able to taint the tribal's water supply of blackroot oil during the barbarian invasions of the Collapse era. Escher's always polite, but I doubt we'll be able to convince him using the same temptations that could work on some other clans. On the upside, last I heard, he wasn't a supporter of expansion, preferring to stay neutral on the matter. And he and his clan have been pushing heavily for a proper reform of the slave system. All very common sense things that are standard within Gwynedd, and I'm proud to say Weyrub as well. He wanted to officialize having mandatory manumissions after 20 years for all slaves of shorter lifespans.
Mandatory
As
what?
manumission,
What does that mean? I'm
freedom,
sorry.
like
Oh, okay.
as well as have standardized testing of each slave's abilities, so the ones with more promising skills like leadership didn't languish among the common laborers, which incidentally tends to lead to bad things. Uh, Very promising propositions, but I doubt Alum Cusp and the current dominant faction is very interested. Um, Regarding the lesser clans under Gwynedd, they have two. There's the Hikir clan and the Beapo clan. He points out this here. The Hikir clan are barely Sulatar. They raid and interact with the Volkori more than anyone else, and they often intermarry with the more cooperative tribes, as well as take war partners. Excellent trackers and ambushers in the jungles as a result, since they use a lot of tribal methods and tactics on their own. Well, the clan head is Oroth Esquor Pikir. She's younger than Escher in her second century. I don't really know much about her beyond she wasn't considered for the position until her elder siblings all passed away. Once again, plague. Lord Olenquai actually chimes in for the first time. He's just kind of been. It's hard to tell if he's doing the Ludger thing and just being very diplomatic, or if it's just like he's sitting through this and tolerating this. Um, but he does add in. Actually, I've met the woman before. She was an excellent hunter, crack shot with a short bow. But I don't think she'd care much about politics. Makes sense that she'd end up throwing in with Gwynedd. Interclan oaths are the most direct and simple. I mean, Kyber, that's why I decided my clan should side with Weyrub when we were called to the capital. Yeah, Weyrub kind of like grimaces a bit at the memory and says, that does simplify things, though. It means that if we win Gwyned's support, or at least indifference, Pikir will follow suit. Sadly, the Biepo clan will not be as easy. They are one of, if not the wealthiest clans in the realm, focusing on trade more than anything else. Their clanhold, Biepo Kull, is one of the largest clanholds on the island, even after the plague. While they are not the best sailors, they're reliable and handle most of the shipping routes. Their clan head is Rajan Yer Biepo. He's in his 4th century and has not kept himself in the condition a noble should.
What does that mean?
Yeah, Lord Olenquai just chuckles. You mean he's a bloated tick? No need to mince words, High Lady. Biepo are scum, and Rajan is one of the worst. Damn shame he survived the plague. Last I saw him, he was using a
Gluttonous?
cane. What's that?
Are you saying he's gluttonous and lazy?
Among other things. I'd assume the
Can he
cane
be
was.
easily manipulated?
He just kind of glances at Wayrobe at that. Well, that's a bit more blunt than I would have put it, but it's correct. I don't know about manipulation. Lord Biepo is known for overindulging in nearly every vice imaginable, but he is not a dumb man, and has correctly deduced that following the plague, this chaos and the weakening of the temple has opened up an opportunity for his clan to be elevated to greater status if the expansion succeeds. He is also aggressively against slavery reform, since his clan makes a great deal of wealth by selling untrained slaves in bulk.
Pick notes Satalis' distaste in that and is like immediately on her side in that opinion.
She's trying to note who is like basically Siltalis is a practical woman. She's trying to like formally like how am I moving these how are we going to move these pieces around so that the people who are at least open to change in the slavery are the ones that win is kind of where her mind is going.
Yeah. Ludger would chime in and ask one of the first questions he has. Yeah. Just to clarify, the way you speak of him, it sounds as this Biapo fellow, it cannot be counted to keep any word or any agreement he makes. Am I correct?
He will keep it to the word, but his clan are infamous for wording things in such a way that it is difficult to get what you actually wish from them. He knows better than to break all of the taboos, but I don't believe speaking with him will convince him of anything. All it would do is allow him a shorter knife to affix in our back.
I see. So
So
it does sound
far,
as if, no, no alliance would be worth the paper that is written on with this clan.
Likely, yes. As long as we are against expansion and slave reform, then yes, he will not work with us.
and what just for my remembering because this is a lot of information.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, go ahead.
Gwenod is against expansion and for slavery reform. Yeah.
They're neutral on expansion, meaning they're can take it or leave it, and they're aggressively pro-slave reform, which their reform does not mean against. It just means they basically want things put in
Look,
place to like comb out possible leaders, basically.
oh, I
Um,
get it. I get
yeah,
it. But
yeah,
it's also one of those like I have to work with what I have
yeah.
kind of
Oh, I know.
thing.
I'm tracking. Yeah, like I get you. But that's just to clarify, just so there's not any like they're not anti-slavery. They're just um practical evil would be how I describe their stance. Um, Slaves tend to work harder if there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and if the ones who could rally them together are not with them. So that's what they're trying to get mandated, so all the clans have to follow it. And since they like their offering is the equivalent of like a high quality sports car, we only sell slaves trained to a T who aren't going to like poison your drink or burn down your house. They're against the kind of practices that this lesser clan technically under them does, which is like bulk sale. Who was like, we're not guaranteeing any quality, we're guaranteeing you like someone to work the fields until you kill them or they kill you, that type of thing.
Mhm. And that is the
It is
Biapo.
BFO. Yeah, they're kind of merchants,
Okay.
and they're out here
They're
on the edge of the coast.
they're the East India Trading Company.
A little bit, yeah.
No,
And
they're the Tamil Kings.
yeah, there you go.
We're the East India Trading Company.
Yeah. And Pikir apparently just like the most tribally they're the closest to the tribal drow culturally. And they're just gonna go whatever direction Gwened goes.
Okay, so thought is forming, but
Okay.
what else? I see that we've gotten the river handled, really.
Yes. Would you
Ah,
like me to? I'm happy to explain more, but I didn't want to overwhelm you with this.
I I look at my party. I have been hogging all of the attention today. I apologize. Thoughts?
Perhaps
Uh,
another day. This
yeah,
is a lot to take in.
Ludger would almost pretty much say something on the lines of, if we're planning a first expedition, uh, I would say that we should only, focus on information that would directly pertain to it, uh, and anything that may influence. So, if these three clans are, the ones we will be visiting, other than, other clans that may get, involved, it may be better to just only talk to these clans for the moment rather than, you know, learn information that we may not retain or information that may not be relevant.
Yeah. Lady Wayrub nods approvingly, and so out of character, just so that you guys don't think it's like I'm like only ask about these. It's all I have written. I have actually written out everything for all 13 clans, including the current the actual temple that's in charge of the city state. It's all there. I didn't want to dump 13 clans of fucking lore on you. That's
Yeah,
the whole
this is a
session.
lot.
Yes, yes, it
And I
is.
feel like it's enough for at least the next, like, because,
Next several sessions, I'm hoping. Yeah,
yeah, like,
yeah,
honestly, because Sultalis is the king of going to Gwenad, cool, and seeing what we can do with them, given that they can influence other clans pretty well, it sounds
okay,
like.
yeah. I mean, they are a major clan. Technically, Pikir and Biapo are like supposed to follow their lead. Biapo sounds like they don't, but yeah, just in getting them, it's a 2-for-1 in getting Pikir. So, but yeah, she's happy to answer any other questions that anybody has. But barring that, she's gonna go back for the day's work. For her day's
Yeah,
work.
Yeah. I don't have any other questions.
No, Purser's fun.
Cool.
Yeah, my head is already like, what just happened to you?
Yeah, that's like I said, I'm trying to drip feed.
There was a lot.
Yeah, I learned some things from the failed China campaign, like how much you can dump on people at once. I'm a little better about it. But yeah, in that case, her and Lord Olenquai, who seems quite happy, like it's not to say he didn't have a decent time, but he wants to be doing physical work. He doesn't seem to enjoy sitting and talking about political schemes, which he's the head of a major faction. He probably should.
Right.
Yeah, or at least a faction. But yeah, they head back over and continue the process of getting a series of logs to roll the ship on. And yeah, your dinner party is done. Does anybody want to do anything before we jump ahead to the ship sliding out? Hopefully.
So once the drow leave
Mhm.
and are like out of earshot,
Yeah.
Purser's gonna raise the tribex in the room.
Yeah.
What do we do about the slaves?
I don't know. Even with our, I don't know. Because we don't have the forces to tell them what to do.
I would recommend, at least as a first step, to perhaps not put a dagger in them, but to be a thorn. I would, for the interest of our own sovereignty, as well as to create ideal conditions for the eventual removal of the aberration of slavery. I would say that we need to make it abundantly clear that Mishann is free soil regardless, and that any slave that steps foot in Mishann becomes a free person, no matter their conditions. In this way, we become a poisoned well for the region that in time their slaves will discover our existence and will keep attempting to flee to us. This gives us motivated manpower for long-term growth and expansion, and constantly saps them of their chattel slaves. In time, as we grow with this policy, and they are constantly made to be weaker, they may see it may simply become unprofitable for them to keep that practice going, and may eventually lead to them abolishing it without too much pressure or risk of conflict on our end.
I hate to agree with the Karn, but I think he's right.
That legit would make Sultal's laughing character. Um, I'm fine with this. I will be perfectly frank. Part of my disdain is how close my sisters and I came to being slaves, if not in name, then in fact. And it will be a struggle for me, but I will endure if need be.
You have so many people, and so many more people come. Eventually, they have to listen because you will outnumber them by lots. Many died. The plague killed many, many, many. You will win in time.
I would also say that there may be clans that are unwilling to listen to us. Especially this Biapo fellow sounds like he can neither be trusted and will betray us at the first possible opportunity. So, if certain clans have to be disposed of, well, that means that for a good number of them, we can end the practice more, upfront or directly.
Can't have slaves if your clan's gone.
But I will say one key advantage is based off of everything that they've told us. They have never ever in their extended history have they've had a neighbor that wasn't a tribe or a source of slaves. Therefore, they honestly are likely to have very little insight or historical lessons to draw on the ways we may be able to indirectly sabotage their use of slavery or any other practices we deem uh you know any other practices we deem as unethical or problematic to us. Therefore, we can use these methods against them in a way that they may not understand the implication that these practices will have on them until our desired outcome has all but been achieved.
I mean, sounds like you guys are in an agreement, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I think so.
cool. All right. I'm going to do a 10-minute break and beforehand just say thank you everyone for genuinely engaging. I really, this is political stuff only works as well as you guys engage, so I really appreciate it.
Mm.
Like even those of you who are just like my character would sit, like I've appreciated that you've
Pick
done stuff.
attempting to participate. Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, I
You're
mean,
just like, I don't know.
I don't blame you for like I've played dumb characters or just not political characters, but I do appreciate everybody's engaged and having fun. So, but yeah, we'll come back in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Julio.
Got an alarm set, but I will be back.
That's true. The funny part is, in Hasfiarlan, they're the only ones who did what I wish they had done for all of the names, like, Merrick's, where, like, they kept a family name in front of it, like a canon family name. Like, Hasfiarlan, they always have, like, a first, what seems like a middle name, which is actually the family, and then the
Mhm.
house name. They're the
I
only
mean,
ones who kept that. Wish
no,
the others had.
they all do it. It just we don't have the canon names for a lot of people.
I know, and that's why I'm like, God damn it. I don't mind making it up, it's just I wish they had.
Hmm I think that's mostly because the elves put such a huge emphasis on ancestry in Eberron,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
comes up more with them.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. It's very helpful. But yeah. I can also, from a like design perspective, 3 names is hard. Like 3 names can be hard. Like
Mhm.
you want to try and have stuff approachable. So Merrick's to Kenneth,
Yeah,
easy to
it's
remember.
the important names.
Yeah.
The family names aren't useful unless you're going deep into family politics for some reason.
Right. And what kind of like jackass would try for politics in a D&D game?
Well, it's just hyper focused. Like,
Especially after having one fail so hard that you just basically dipped on the
yeah, I stopped DMing for a while. Yeah.
which I do not blame you. I was pretty pissed.
I got a cinnamon roll.
I want a
Hey,
cinnamon roll.
I got envy.
you have a
It's
cinnamon
so
Yeah.
roll
good.
besides pick. Besides
Yeah,
the precious cinnamon bun that must be protected, that is pick.
I was very mad at how that campaign ended, just because I'd put a lot of time and effort into that character. All for
I
it to end
know.
after like 4 sessions.
Clearly, you were
Which
the
was not
problem. I should never
it
have
was not
invited you to
Spam's fault. Fuck that. I was the solution.
that.
They were just mad that I'm like, nope, you guys have to actually pick a direction.
Yeah, so the TLDR of that is I tried to do a very politically like ancient China game, middle of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms period, where like it's a absolute cesspit of politics, but you've got to pick some kind of side because this is not a land where murder hoboing your way through is going to end with anything but you like betrayed and stabbed 47 times in the back. And the party was just not having it. Like I tried to make that work for like 47 sessions. It just fucking gave up.
Hmm.
47 sessions?
Well, I
Yeah,
was
I
there
have
for
a
the
number.
last how many? 5? 4 or 5?
I think so. Let's see.
And like what was going on was there was a chaos goblin who I don't know what his deal was,
Oh no,
but
I lied. 66. 47 was
Jeez.
47 was where they hit like it's not salvageable, and I tried to keep going, and I just finally goes like, I don't know what to do here. You guys have alienated every faction, including the bad guys. There's no one who isn't going to kill you the moment they can. Like
and
you've
my
pissed off
character comes in.
kings, alienated nobles, like burned down like alien entities. Like everyone hates you guys. I'm not gonna run this.
Well, and so I had made my character legitimately to come in and fix it. My
Yeah,
character
on my
was a
request, by the way.
character that was meant to fix the problem. Like my character was loyal to a kingdom that they had originally been offered like work for us, so she was basically the niece of the next queen, and she was like, nope, you guys promised to do something, and then I kept them on track, and then everybody decided that they didn't like having
being on track.
an actual
yeah.
direction.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
And they
well,
threw a
decided they
hissy
didn't
fit
want
and left.
they decided they didn't like having a Tard Wrangler, basically.
yeah, yeah.
That's what it ended up like. That's what I was doing. Is every time the Chaos Goblin would try to do something, I'd be like, no,
Yeah,
no, we're not doing that.
yeah. And like it didn't start out as bad as it ended. Like they were not pure chaos from the beginning. It's just as they got stronger, in character, they just decided they could get away with more and started doing, which is fine normally, but it's like this is a limited. This it's not a limited scope. This is a focused campaign. This is like going into Dark Sun saying, "I want to play a heroic fantasy paladin who saves the damsel and." Yeah, like it's like I want to be the lawful good paladin of Paylor DM, and I will accept nothing less. It's like, well, it's not really that kind of game. Oh, okay, I'll play something else, and then secretly just makes paladin of Paylor and tries to do it the whole game.
Which
Like,
if that's your jam, then at least make it practical and reasonable.
I don't play in that game. Like, I got nothing against that, but this was not a standard Gremlin game. Anyways.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like, if you want to play a paladin of Paylor in fucking Dark Sun, then you have to accept that it's
Probably
not
have a
going
lifespan
to.
of 2 days.
Yeah, it's you have to accept that shit's gonna happen.
Yeah. Anyways, it's
And
rant
I was
aside.
kind of, I just kind of bummed because I actually really liked the character I made, and I figured there was quite a bit coming for me in terms of story, and it was,
Yeah,
and it
there
just
was.
was over.
Yeah, I had like the last dredges of one of like the most, besides Bonnie, the most focused player left, and then I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
I had a couple more sessions planned out, but I wasn't willing to do them. But anyways, guys, we have, let's see. Okay, so yeah, does anybody have anything else they want to do for the next few days as they set up this slip and slide for a boat?
We will bring the Galifar Code of Justice to the savage land.
I like that. You know what? I like the spirit. That's
He
Like
does got the
in
spirit.
one day.
well, no, one day, not in one day.
Oh, okay. Just making sure, because I was like, that's kind of a tall order.
Oh,
I'll just
yeah.
do more prepping the boat for its land-bound journey.
Yeah. By the way, does anyone besides Bemmy have mirrors in their homes at any point? Just out of curiosity.
Nope.
Random
Nope.
question. Okay.
Nope. In
Um,
fact, she probably had some, and then she got rid of them. And then her sisters were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she explains, "So Bemmy's grandmother hates me, and she's a very powerful, why did I just forget? Hag. She's a very powerful hag. And I'm not talking about, Mrs. Smythe from down the road hag. I'm talking like the hag.
Yeah, none of them argue with that. Like Dan pointed out, like, yeah, hags are tangible. They're real life fairy tale villains in Corover. So it's not a lot of other explanation needed.
yeah, Purser's spell probably makes mirrors as part of like the bedroom or something, but he would specifically like modify the spell to not produce them.
Yeah, yeah. Produce them in the wall or something. So it's just change the clipping settings on it.
Just over a pit of lava.
Yeah. Why do you have a lava pit? I like it warm. But
You didn't notice the fire everywhere?
Does the water basin count?
I mean, like the reflection in the water, or
Yeah.
can? It's harder for her, but
Why didn't you say no? That makes me more worried. All right.
no, like clear any reflective surface she can technically try and use. It's just mirrors work way better. You would know this in character.
All right.
But yeah. So you guys, the next few days go by without any major incident. Although, like I said, after that meeting, we'll say I know I forgot, but I feel like Siltalis would have definitely mentioned, hey, how come no drow have showed up at my clinic type thing. And yeah, everything goes as planned, and we're coming up on after those 3 days go by, there's a line of freshly cut trees set up from the giant building to the edge of the river. The Solotar drow that have joined the settlement, like, even when they were working Bemi, they didn't seem very upset about having to do this. As like when they were talking with you, one of them mentioned that they were planning to use the logs as building materials once the ship's in the water. So this is all stuff they can reuse.
It's very smart.
Yeah. But actually, when the governess found out about what was going on, because it's not something anyone was hiding, and it would be hard to hide if they were, she actually had we'll say, it's being generous, but the fishing fleet of Mishann. There's no ships large enough to act as like tugboats properly, but the harbor master / lead fisherman, a man named Roland Zeklin, is he's able to gather all 10 of the smaller boats that and use rows as to act as kind of a pulling force. For comparison's sake, like the biggest of these is a keel boat. Like these are all very small.
It's fine. They're trying.
They are, and it's hey, with 10 of them, who knows? Let me put an image up here. Mishann Roland is right here. But yeah, the with a crowd of drow and a few helpful or just curious Corvair settlers coming over, they're willing to like they were a little leery, but the drow didn't actually attack the settlement or show up armed to the teeth like they were originally going to. So they've gotten confused but not hostile welcome to the settlement. Most people just kind of once they get past the like peasants, point and stare stage where a bunch of like even stranger than normal drow march in. There's been some casual interactions as much as a language barrier allows for the people who only speak common. It was for the first wave of settlers, it was strongly encouraged that you have some elvish or giant, but that was a lot harder to get. But yeah, between the drow, the settlers, and these little boats, all hauling on ropes. And did you guys want to join in with that, or are you more
I
of the
could
opinion?
absolutely attempt to help.
Okay,
No.
that's fair.
I will happily encourage people, but no, this
that's
is
not your shtick. Yeah.
no.
I would say Ludger would lead the guys of his former unit. We all take a line together and
Oh, okay.
are basically trying to, while pulling ourselves, the basic, like, trying to establish a shanty or, like, heave-ho sort of thing to,
Okay.
like,
Yeah, it
organize
gets
it.
you a few looks, but the Corvair settlers take it up pretty cheerily, and the Drow seem curious about it. Like that's not something that they're familiar with doing, but it's interesting. Although they can't understand the chants. But yeah, if those of you helping, just
Um,
give me an athletics or strength check if you don't have it.
I will
Go ahead.
say one thing that I might encourage my siblings to do is, hey, whichever one of you speaks Elvish, you should probably start teaching the Drow how to speak Common. and everybody else here how to speak Elvish.
Yeah,
Because your guys are so smart.
that's probably a
Mighty
really good
pick.
idea. I mean, that's fine. It's crowds. This is just for the speed at which these things slide out. But yeah, I mean,
She's doing her best. It's
you're
maximum enthusiasm.
yeah, maximum enthusiasm, maximum effort, all the same thing. But yeah, with those and with just these crowds of people, rowboats pulling, it's like slow at first, but the ship twists with a scraping and grinding noise until its nose is touching the logs. And then with another deep yell, and like a particularly loud one from Ludger's your group, the ship does begin sliding across the wood. It speeds up quickly thanks to the gradual slope that the settlement is built on, and it's like very quickly moving entirely on its own the last 50 feet, causing a lot of people just like yell, dive out of the way type thing because it's just moving. Before it falls into the water of the Belfour River with a massive splash. Um, there's a terrifying moment where the Riptider begins to tilt to one side as the crowd of pullers frantically like haul the other side to try and balance it out. But Ludger, with your 22, you're able to like, we'll say that's just maneuvering everybody around to pull the right side, and you manage to get it so that it's floating the correct angle, and cheer goes up from the crowd, including the rowers out in the water. And yeah, now the ship is no, yeah, nobody gets crushed with like if you both had gotten nat ones, maybe somebody, but no, it's nobody gets flat out pancaked. Um, but yeah, it's kind of bobbing slightly in the current. It floats surprisingly well for something with like no wood. And like once everybody's done cheering and just being pretty happy about what you accomplished, most of the fishermen set out into the bay to resume their day's work in their like, especially now that you have a full-sized, like, by your standards, warship or major transport ship next to these things. It's clear how tiny those like, yeah, these are glorified rowboats that they've been using. Uh, um, oh yeah, thanks for coming, Scott. We'll see you.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, everyone. Gotta go. Bye.
Yep.
But yeah, Roland Zeklin himself rows in on, or well, sails/rows in on his keelboat to help you and the two drow leaders like get over to the ship and climb up the sides, assuming you're willing to go with them.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Lady Wayrub and Lord Olenquai are both carefully carrying these large blood glass orbs, which Purser, as you noticed before, are very heavy and slosh as the boat moves. And Wayrub says, we'll place these under the arc of each binding strut. Then we simply say the command phrase, and the water elementals inside should be released. Lord Olenquai and I will be underneath one and handle that elemental if you think you can handle the other.
I believe I have the capability. And I'll take out some bottles and start like pouring a circle underneath the other arc.
Okay. Yeah, she blinks a little bit at that, but she kind of like glances. I feel like Pick or Siltalis translate. And yeah,
Yeah.
once they're weak enough, they should succumb to the magic of the ship, which will be pulling on them from the moment they're released. So they shouldn't be able to really escape. Thankfully, these are not easy to find. And let me put you guys on the Riptider ship map.
So big.
Yep. See,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll cast Magic Circle where our elemental is going to be.
Ah, okay. Draw
Inverted
out.
to contain it.
Yeah. That's probably a good idea. Will the magic circle let it be drawn into the uh, binding strut?
That's up to you. I don't know.
Well, is he trying to do that? Let me read it here. I assume he's trying to do it. Why am I asking that? He would think of that. You are a smart
Yeah.
boy. 20-foot tall cylinder of magical energy. Glowing runes appear wherever. Insect.
I could open up a hole that only leads into the binding.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Let's see here. Okay, tries to use that's just teleportation. Chosen type can't willingly enter or leave. Has disadvantage on attack rolls within the cylinder. Targets. Yeah, I would say in order to basically try and set a pinwheel, because your goal here is just you're hoping it opens and it just funnels right in. Is that the plan, or is it just it doesn't have anywhere to go?
hopefully doesn't have anywhere to go.
Okay.
Ideally, funnel it straight in, but I know that's probably not going to happen. Might have to beat some submission into it first or something.
You know what? Give me an Arcana check, and if you get good enough, it's a high check here, but possible. Um,
18.
yeah, 18. You feel like you're still probably going to have to weaken it, but maybe not as much. So yeah, it's because it's where else if there's already a force pulling on it, it doesn't have a lot of options.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, made it a little easier. Um, but yeah, so situate you guys yourselves however you would like. Here is where the orb is, and it's presumably where it's going to appear. Um, if you could just draw out where you're putting the magic circle for me, Purser, and I'll put the thing within that. You want it somewhere
Okay.
near this giant size strut. Okay. And everybody else is cool where they are?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I
Cool,
scooched.
cool. You scooched. Okay. And
Perfect. I like that.
okay. Um oh, that was it. Purser, do you wanna or Dan, do you mind handling Ludger's sheet while he is not here?
Sure.
Okay, let me give you control here. I should probably just leave it that way, but okay.
Yeah, and of course the circle is inverted, so outside creatures are protected, and it's contained inside.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well then let's start with rolling initiative.
Everybody?
Yeah, everybody's willing to engage.
Pick what the hell?
I'm speed. She's too excited.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, hey, upside, you guys all got better than the water elemental. All right, sending. Okay, yeah, so as you put it there, and the phrase that they would have is just it's in giant and it's release. So you just basically stand next to it, like put your hand on the orb and say release, and it'll burst out. So someone will need to be
Yeah,
in the circle with it, but you
I'm
can
fine
get out
with
of it.
that.
It can't. Yeah. Cool, cool. Yeah. So then that would be what bursts out of this is just Purser, I would say in your studies you've seen water elementals before, or at least some elementals.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
come up.
yeah, they come up. This is big. This is bigger than the ones you're familiar with. Um, and there's the image. Yeah. Um, so Bemi, you are first. You see this enormous vortex of like water like just erupting from this sphere, and it looks and sounds like this like sloshing. You can almost understand it. It's like somebody with a heavy accent. Just like something about freedom, as it seems very upset. What would you like to do?
He's not currently hurting me at the moment, right?
Nope, it's just looking very angry.
I'm gonna take a couple steps back.
Okay, one sec here. Yeah, as you take a few steps back, it like lashes out to try and attack you with a reaction because it's got some
with
long tendrils.
with disadvantage.
Yes, yes. An 18 to hit. Doesn't get the crit.
Yeah, that's a hit.
20 bludgeoning.
Ooh,
They're very
Yikes.
spicy.
You are out of its range now. It doesn't seem. Plus, it seemed like you saw the tendril like slam against the water or against this like invisible barrier that seemed to. Does it have like a silvery tint to it? I feel like, per sure. Like,
I'd
I
say
feel like
yeah,
there's.
that's a good like it's just a silvery little bit of light, like seeing dust motes in the air, but where it intersects with the ground, it's like sparking and flashing.
Yeah. So Persia did something here to help out, and that seemed to blunt the blow, even though it already had hurt a lot. And yeah, what'd you like to do?
well, looks like I'm gonna shoot him.
Okay, that's fair.
So let's see. All right.
I'd have felt really bad if you critted, because I think you'd be at you would be at 1 if you'd critted on the opening round. All right, good. Okay, Percy's thing is
I
putting in the
get
work.
I get 3. It's my
Yeah.
first time, so
Yeah,
hey.
What's up?
I'm very good at protecting people.
Yeah.
Isn't that right,
All those
Sultalis?
all those hit. All those hit. You get the feeling this one's like, it's water. It's not that tough to hit. Um, and yeah, I like.
I like that there's an actual boat involved in this art.
that.
Like,
That's
oh,
a
goody.
small boat, but yeah. Uh, yeah,
With a
so you
person
definitely like,
standing in a crow's nest.
yeah, small boat. Couple couple shots hit this thing and like I won't say completely blow out the back of it, but like yeah, there's definitely an impact. Seems very solid given that it's magical. So yeah, that hurt it. It lets out like an agonized yell that sounds like the flow of a waterfall or something. And anything else, Bemi?
You didn't have to hit me. That's it.
Okay. You can actually kind of understand it because it's speaking Aquan, so it's like heavily accented, but primordial you could talk with it. It doesn't seem
Oh,
real
for real?
interested in talking, but yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
You're like, I know you want out, but you didn't have to hit me. Rude.
Oh, and I will say, be careful of walking over the hold here because, like, this grading was probably good for giants, but you guys could just like slip between the bars and fall down. You don't want to do that. Um, but yeah, if that's it for Bemi, it is Siltalis' turn. What would you like to do?
Well, that sucked.
It popped Bemi pretty good when he was moving back.
Yeah, that's why it sucked. Um, well, Well, we'll just kind of go, hey, Bem. How you feeling, bud?
Better.
Good. I'm glad. Pat him
Feel a
on the
little
shoulder.
better.
Good.
I just got the wind knocked out of me.
You took it like a champ though. So,
Yeah.
And then yeah, I'll just call that good for the time being. Nope, that was an action. Yep, we'll call that good for the time being. Back up.
Coach says it's good to bleed from the ears.
But cool. Then pick. What would you like to do?
I'm assuming it probably needs magical damage.
Might help.
So we're gonna try. How many of these do I have left? Not many. Oh yeah, and I split them. I guess I'm gonna do a regular pew pew.
Okay.
I'm not gonna move. Steady aim.
Magic Circle is very helpful here. Like, I wasn't going to allow it to get to the water because of the effects of the ship, but this is a very good idea.
Silver Flame mages are very good at binding.
Yeah.
I think only Zill are better when it comes to elementals.
And she's not angrily chatting at it. She's just being like, go in what they made for you. It is good. That is
It's
where you
not
go. She doesn't know.
it's really bad.
Poor thing. If she knew, she'd be upset, but she doesn't. She's just like, they made it a spot. It is good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was her
definitely
little cue.
hits. That definitely hits. Non-magical does seem like it doesn't hit quite as hard, but
That's all right.
that's okay.
And it's probably like, no, it is not good. She just doesn't understand.
It doesn't understand you, so it's not yelling that, but it is yelling something about wanting to be free in Aquin.
Oh, sad.
Okay, Purser, what would you like to do?
So Purser will draw his scimitar and you hit it with a green flame blade.
Nice.
Got a lot of character sheets open.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, green flame blade and scimitar attack. That is a 19 to hit for 7 slashing damage.
Definitely hits. And...
plus 1d8 fire damage. So, yep.
Nice. So 15 damage.
Does it resist the fire?
It does not. Well, let me double check, but I don't think it does. Nope, it doesn't.
That's what I
Yeah, like
assumed.
there's like as the blade carves through it, it's more like you're just carving steam out of it. It's like cutting gel or something.
And then I will back up out of the circle.
And it used its reaction.
I'll actually go to here, so I'm still between everyone. And
good. Okay.
I'll cast Shield of Faith on myself. And I'll just hang out.
Cool. Okay, yeah, it really, like, even though Bemmy's probably hit it harder, it really like let out a scream as you like boiled part of it away. It really didn't like that. Yeah.
We're just trying to get this thing to go somewhere, right?
If you weaken enough, it should get drawn into the like basically the magic reactor, where it totally won't just be locked there as a slave. All right. What does Purser watch?
I'm going with my character just doesn't understand how this all works. Because she probably doesn't.
Yeah.
Purser's explained it, but it just went over her head.
It's a point, and here to everybody's credit, it's a point of contention among the Lyrander, like the people who do this stuff. It's like they're elementals. They probably just want to do the things elementals do. As long as it's a fire elemental that can burn, it should be fine. Like there's been debate about it.
Well, actually, so one of the points is that anyone can drive an elemental ship by convincing the elemental to do what they want, but it's the Dragon Mark of Storm that lets them force the elemental.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, the Zill made it, and like they are the most morally upstanding people on Corvair, so like
Yeah.
all right. What does Ludger do?
Ah, Ludger will shoot it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does, doesn't it?
He's got a magical crossbow, so
Is that the
good
can
thing.
of Thunderbolt?
Yep.
Okay. Bum, bum. It's 12 to hit?
Well, surprisingly does not hit. Yeah,
Mm.
it's not a jam, but the shot goes a little wide as like the elemental lightning that powers it seems to get pulled a little bit off course towards this almost just ambient stuff. But the
And an
second
18 to
one
hit.
very much hits. Yeah.
Okay. It'll be 12 piercing damage.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely hurt it. Doesn't like it.
And that'll be it for Ludger.
Okay. It is its turn. And it's not smart enough to know that you're the cause of the whole thing. But let's see. Surging wave. Yeah, it can't move. There's no save to move out of it. It just can't move out of the circle, right?
It can't move out. If it teleports out, it has to make a saving throw.
Yeah, it doesn't have teleporting.
Right.
All right. So that's pretty good. You've taken out the surging wave action, which is very good. It's gonna do 2 slam attacks against you, Purser, at disadvantage.
Okay. I have 20 AC.
Okay. Then wow, he's rolling consistently. Okay, with disadvantage, it's not the 26, so 18 does not hit, and 17 does not hit. You're spared some walloping there.
So yeah, Purser's just blocking with the shield as the waves of water crash against the barrier.
Yeah, and like you could see the whole thing rearing up as if it was getting ready to just like rush forward in a straight line that would have maybe engulfed everyone here, but it's kept from doing that by the magic circle, which is a very good thing. And yeah, Bemi, what would you like to do?
Gonna shoot it again.
Okay.
Actually, no. I'll cast Fairy Fire so we can hit it more often.
Ah,
That's the
okay.
yeah. There you go.
Okay, nice. And what's the save on Free Fire again? I think it's a deck save.
Yeah.
I should know this. It's going to be a fucking
Yep.
heavily recurring thing in this game. All right, Dex. Oh, okay, all right. Damn it, this is a consistent roller. All right, yeah, 18 just says no. I'm assuming you're
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's all right. Why couldn't I get these rules when I was a player? Okay. Yeah. For me, it's you're not sure if it's just like fire meets too much water or what happens, but it's just able to just like smother the flames that start to kind of cling to it. It just turns its form heavily amorphous and makes like a small whirlpool of water or a water spout of water that just shakes the flames off.
Screw you
And
too, buddy.
yeah, it's still just yelling, "You will not enslave me any further."
What if I promise to get you back out when we're done?
Um, Give me a persuasion check with disadvantage, because you are currently kicking its teeth in, and you already locked it in a circle.
Persuasion, huh?
At disadvantages.
Well, guys, maybe I'll roll 2 green at the same
Good.
time, and it'll be great. It's a flat roll. 17, 12. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't seem it's lies. You speak like the lies of the others. Yeah, it doesn't seem to believe you. Yeah, it can speak that one. Okay, yeah. Anything else?
Nope. Be sad.
Okay. Zithalis, what would you like to do? Bammy was gurgling at it.
I know, that's why she's like looking at him like, are you okay?
Oh, she sees him going.
I mean, are you alright?
I'm trying to have a conversation.
Hold on, I have to fix my stuff.
I couldn't keep that in a straight face. I'm sorry.
No, that was really good.
The DC, okay, that's correct. Cool.
Okay, wisdom saving throw. It's not tremendously wise. Ah, 15 though. All right. Flat roll. No, it's +1. Still, yeah, it is not having it.
It
Its
sucks.
fury does
That
not
was a
allow
really
it.
good roll.
It was, yeah. Is that yeah, that was max. No, not quite max. I forget you guys
It was
level.
very close though.
Pretty close. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, pick. What would you like to do?
Pickles!
Oh my god, I didn't realize my bike was up. I'm gonna
You're
pew.
good. You're good.
I was also said I stepped into the kitchen for 1 second because my.
I'm
Ah.
jealous that I didn't think of that nickname first. Pickles.
All right.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, that
Okay.
hits.
Wow. Min damage.
Men damage.
That's the game saying fuck you.
Ah, well. Yeah. All right. Hey, every little bit helps, especially you're just trying to get it to a percentage.
Please go in there. Get in your box.
I mean, yeah, it's not enough quite yet, but eventually you're definitely getting there.
She's got the spirit.
Yeah. Anything else?
That is all.
Okay, then we're going to go to Purser. What would Purser like to do?
So now that Purser's out of the circle, he's gonna back further away.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to take an attack of opportunity. It does not like you. Doesn't like any of you, to be fair. 18. Yeah, it's not going to beat 20.
You don't say. He doesn't like any of us?
And
How many 18s have I gotten? I've gotten like 6 18s so far. Okay. Yeah.
Stop.
what can I say except you're welcome? See, I'll sheath the scimitar and just start blasting firebolts at it.
Okay. Yeah. That does
9 to hit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for Purser.
What would Ludger like to do?
Lidger will shoot it,
Okay.
unsurprisingly.
I don't think it has a lot of winning moves. It doesn't
That's
have
the
any good
idea
stuff.
of me casting that spell.
No, I mean it's a really good use. I was like, actually, this is really good. Yeah, that hits.
Okay. That's 10 piercing damage.
Okay, it's getting there.
And our second attack is a 21 to hit.
That also hits.
For 9.
Okay, you're getting really. All right. Yeah. Okay, it's its turn. Let me look again. Maybe it's got something. Let's see. No, these are solid construction. Circle goes up 20 feet, you said?
It is a 100-foot tall cylinder, I think. Let me double check. No, it's 20 feet tall. It is a cylinder, so it can go over the top if it can fly.
Can't fly. I was thinking like if it stretches itself, but it doesn't have quite enough, even if it like forms into one long tendril.
What's its strength? Can it make that as a high jump?
It's pretty strong. You know what? It's gonna try that. It's gonna try and do the high jump element. I'll give it a check to see if it can jump because it's 15. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I think it can. I think yeah. If it just flows over the top, if it does it as a high jump, I think it can actually manage it. Let's see its movement speed. It's got to be part of it.
It might be close. I'm not. 1 moment.
Yeah, it's one
continue,
of
but I'm
those
gonna
like
look
this is
something
a
up.
rare situation. I think it can barely jump out of it. Um, the issue is that like it splashes down here. That's all of its movement. Would it try and? Yeah, it would go for the closest thing to get out of the fighting circle. Um,
So sage advice says that it is a solid cylinder, so
mhm.
the top is closed. It just can't
Ah,
leave the cylinder.
that
But
makes sense to be
I'll I'll,
honest.
I'll
I,
leave it
I'm
up to you either way.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes a lot of sense, and this is a very good use of the spell. So I'm gonna say it can't quite get out then. Um, what it's going to do is make a strength. It's going to try and like smash the floor to get through that. That's if we can get a crack, it
Mm,
can just flow out. So it's just going to do that.
okay.
21. Yeah, it's started to successfully peel up one, and yeah, I would say it's able to flow down to the next floor, which or no wait, it still can't flow down. It doesn't know that though, because it's a solid cylinder. It's closed on top and bottom, I would say. So yeah, it's able to like smash a crack, but then when it goes to flow through, it doesn't work. And then it just yells out in there's no words, it's just pure frustration. Bemi, what'd you like to do?
Look, this is only gonna go one way, guy. Stop right now. Or we're gonna make you get in there, but I promise I'll get you out.
Um yeah, I feel like I don't think it's really in the mood to listen at this point. But yeah, give me another persuasion disadvantage. Like
I feel
it's really low odds, but if you get it, you get it.
look, if
This isn't your action, so you can attack it.
alright. Oh my god.
16. Um,
No, I want to use my inspiration.
I'm making it flat. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Yeah, it thinks about it like it thinks of it's clearly trapped. Like it's the thing. Its brilliant idea was to go through the floor, which doesn't work. It can't get over. And it says, "I have no choice but to take you at your word. You must release me to flow free."
I promise, if you help us, we will help you. I know what it's
And
like to be stuck in a cage. It's not fun.
yeah, and like the just violently like looking at it from the outside of this thing, you guys can clearly see every mark of where Purser had that that circle set up or had the cylinder of trapping set up because it was just like white water rapids slamming against it in a constant furious like movement with occasionally like a tendril was able to slip out, but at that it like the rapids the furious water seems to slow down, and like what could be interpreted as a face kind of presses against it and like looks at Bemi very seriously, and then the entire thing seems to go perfectly, calm waters, and it's being Purser, you can feel that the constant magical background effect of this, which was pulling on it, all of a sudden starts to pull much harder. And if you want to allow it in, you could do so.
Yeah, I'll go over and like scratch out part of the circle and let it through.
Yeah. And it's pulled up into the vents of this, and there's like a what sounds like a deep like thrumming like sci-fi engine starting up noise as this like starts to glow blue and arcs of water like gush out of the sides of this going over here and forming a circle around the front of the ship. um, Over on the other side they're actually still fighting the thing, but they have it on the ropes. um, I'm not going to do an in combat thing, but yeah, you guys are,
So
yeah, go ahead.
so I'll like slap Bemi on the shoulder and say, "Good bluff work there." They can be obstinate at the best of times.
Do you speak primordial?
I understand everything while I have my spell active. You know this.
No, I'm asking out of character.
No.
Yeah, he was just hearing it via comprehend languages.
Did you
let's see.
lie to Water Spirit?
I mean, who else is going to use this boat?
Oh,
No, I'm certainly never letting it go. Good work.
You know what? If nothing else, I have an entry to put in my dear diary. Today I enslaved water elemental. I will send this story to Mima. I'm sure it will make her laugh.
It's especially great after we just had that talk about emancipation.
I will whisper to Bemmy. We can let it out later.
You promise?
Yeah,
Okay.
like after we're finished on our grand adventure, let it out.
I mean, they're pretty hard to come by, but hey, maybe you won't need the ship at that point.
I believe what I said was we'll help him if he helps us, right?
That's true. Yeah, you could. I don't know how you help a bound elemental
Let it out.
besides letting it out.
We carry it with us wherever we go, forever.
That's an option.
I can't wait for Shayla to have to convince her magnetic goblin, not goblin, magnetic golem to come back. Like, hey, Audrey,
Yeah,
get back
yeah,
here.
yeah. In the once a month game, her character was determined to make a like Cannith powered crossbow that was like didn't rely on a forcibly bound elemental. So
I did it.
she did, but there's a chance that the thing just decides to leave, like if it's in a particularly interesting area. So let's see here. Let me go to this level. Prepare to be blinded by the white. 1 sec here.
Ah!
Okay, there we go.
Future.
Yeah. There we go. Do the thing. Okay. There was a better way to do this, but I didn't. Okay, there we go. So this is what it looks like with the elementals bound now.
Excellent.
Yes, I am proud of it. But
You know how did the other one go?
they just beat it like to the point till it got brought in. They didn't try and talk to it. They technically could have, but they didn't try.
Our party has much more finesse than these people.
Well, you also consider like the idea of like talking to it. Like they
Yeah,
like yeah,
it's
you
a
can
form of
talk to them.
finesse.
Why would we? Um, so yeah, this over here is the elemental helm. So someone basically stands in front of it and can control the whole ship via that way. Let me share with you guys the ship. This is under vehicles. Here we go. Tighter. Oh, and I actually have an image for it. 1 sec. Oh wait, that's not it. And then changes and edit allow to. Okay. So you now should have access to the Riptider ship under vehicles. I'm hoping.
I in the compendium or in
If you in the same place as your character sheet, there you should see a thing called My Creatures and Monsters above
Nope.
player characters. No, it's not coming up.
No.
Okay, here I'll try and move it. Okay, I just moved it
There it
into
is.
player characters. Yeah. And yeah, there is your Riptider, gargantuan vehicle, blah 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 blah. The details for it, for the elemental helm, are in it. Basically you attune to it. The person has to be a spellcaster to be able to use it, one way or another. It includes half-casters. And to transfer control in, say, like a emergency situation, you literally just need to, like, touch them, and you can transfer control should you need to run off to fight, villainous people in whatever fashion. But yeah, you now have control of a powered Riptider, which the entire ship is just like, as the second one is bound in, the entire ship vibrates as lines worked into the metal of the ship light up underfoot, and a funnel of water wraps around their end, same as yours, forming a circle within the binding strut. The two drow, thank you, looking in kind of rough shape themselves, but still breathing. Lord Olenquai gives an approving nod at your capture of the elemental and says, "Solid work. You may be strange, but your skills show that your ally is worth having in war."
And Percival will
And
just nod in his direction.
yeah, Lady Wayrub says, "Yes, well done. The ship is ready to, well, sail is not correct, I suppose, in this case. We'll be bringing Wayrub's court mage with us, both for piloting the ship and some measure of communication with the settlement. If that is acceptable to you."
Yeah.
We should set out sometime soon. While the trip itself shouldn't be a long one in the Riptider, there will undoubtedly be obstacles along the way. The Belfour River isn't kept clear like the Pimben or the Carmitter rivers.
Are we expecting any trouble as we travel down the river?
She smiles and gestures towards the cannon on the end. "I would be greatly surprised if anything could directly attack us while this ship is active. But there
Does she
could be
have a
some,
name?
yes." Well, it's a Riptider.
Oh, we name our ships.
She just kind of cocks an eyebrow. "Ah, well, I
Something
will
like
leave that to you."
Dead Reckoning.
No.
Well, we want to get this is its quickest way from point A to point B, isn't it? Dead Reckoning. Just go straight.
You know the strangest common colloquialisms, Benny.
I'm just saying.
Mima did enjoy teaching him strange things. Like, she deliberately would withhold a lot of things, but stuff like Dead Reckoning was funny. Uh, but yeah, once Lady Wayrub just goes over quickly that from what she's been told, controlling the ship is pretty simple. Spellcaster needs to attune to the helm, and you can pilot it as long as you don't move from that point. And yeah, the only limit on this is that it can only run for 8 hours out of every 24, but it can cover pretty good distance in that time.
Yes.
112 miles. So yeah, you'll be able to make it almost all the way there in a single day of sailing, so to speak.
So it's the shortest point from A to B. I don't know. I think Dead Reckoning is a pretty good name for a ship.
Well, I don't have a better one right now, so sure. Give me temporarily, I guess, Dead Reckoning, even though it's something your Meemaw likes.
Wow, what do you want? What do you want to name her?
I don't know yet. I hadn't had time to think about it before you're like, oh yeah, Meemaw, who is mean.
She didn't give him the idea. He came up with the idea on his own. She just taught him that term. Definitely, she didn't foresee that this would irritate you in some way in the future when she taught him that.
I'm
But
not convinced.
Daniel's hope.
That sounds nicer. It's not very scary.
I like that. Doesn't need to be scary all the time.
be plenty scary
Gift
if the
of
cannon fires.
Tira.
Well, I mean, I'm not hearing a lot of alternatives, so yeah, sure. So by the way, this is not like yours is more Gucci than this, but this is roughly how an elemental galleon looks when it's like it moving. So that's what that chain of water looks like, guys. But whatever, just put in once you've decided the name, just put it in general. And I'll rename. Well, I mean, you could rename it, but I'll put it on the Riptider. But yeah. When you guys are ready to go, if you want to do some last minute shopping or just hang around Mishann for a little bit, you can. No issue with that. Whenever you're ready to go, the ship is ready.
Purser's good. He just used the last of his money making that circle.
That's fair. I mean, it did a lot like that. I was a little worried about that fight. You definitely like that was great.
That's what wizards do. They snap their fingers and solve problems.
You're welcome. My favorite one of those was the painting or the mural on the wall. That was great. That was my proudest spell solves enemy problem. But I digress. Once you guys are ready to go, Lady Wayrub would introduce a drow woman in a set of robes that are probably not practical for wandering through the jungle. They're not stripperific. They're just like you're gonna sweat in that and it's gonna rip. But she says this is Khalsa L.A. Wayrub. She's the most senior caster among my clan. The woman kind of grimaces a bit at that introduction as she inclines her head towards you. That's an exaggeration, High Lady. I'm the most accomplished surviving mage after the Southern Expedition and Plague. That doesn't mean as much as I would like. But I am quite skilled in magical communication and theory, and I'll be along to keep contact with the rest of the clan and pilot the ship if anything should go wrong. Open an image up of her.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you being here.
And she nods, looking a little bit. She just seems like a warrior, to be honest, at first, like when you first meet her.
I love her. I love her. I love her.
Okay.
That description plus
"Please
that
worry."
picture, I love this.
Yeah, she's basically, it's like introducing, yeah, this is our best IT person, and it's like your granddad introducing you. It's like, yep, this is our IT guy. It's like, I know how to turn it on. Doesn't mean much, granddad. No, you're it. But yeah, whenever you guys are ready, who wants to pilot the ship? Someone with
Not
magic.
me. I don't want to do it. No.
Do it.
Yeah, Purser's
Absolutely
up for it.
pick.
I have
Okay.
what is it? I have I'm proficient with water vehicles.
Okay. I mean, that's extra good. Yeah, to be honest, that probably would be a point in your favor. Ironically, you don't need to be, but that does help you measure stuff better as you do it. As like, so to go up and attune to the helm, it literally counts as an attunement, by the way. So you can reattune to one of your other items, but if you've got 3, it's tricky. But going up, you can feel your magic connect to the power within the elemental helm as you stand there for, like I said, it would need to be an hour. The first time. It's severely disorienting for a moment, as 2 things happen. The first is that you can feel both of the elementals bound within the ship, their wills leashed by the artifice of the Riptider. The second is that your senses expand outwards until you can literally feel the entire ship. You know that as fast and powerful as it is, it's not meant for distance travel, like just instinctively. Running it longer than 8 hours a day will result in a serious risk of the bindings breaking or just the destruction of the elementals themselves. Also, as listed in the description, the elemental helm, you can literally see and hear what's happening on and around the vessel as though you were standing in a location of your choice aboard it. So, like anywhere, any of the levels, you can just sense. It's like you're there. Um, you can steer the vessel in reverse, turn in place, and even move laterally without like turning the vehicle itself. So think like a car with like balls for wheels instead of traditional wheels, so it just can move in any direction other than up or down. So it's very, very nimble, especially compared to like traditional sailing ships. And yeah, it is definitely disorienting. You kind of like it takes you a moment to not feel like, which is my body type thing, because you're pulled into the senses of this ship, which feels kind of alive. But yeah. And do you want to set out?
Yes. Is there like a bottle of champagne that gets smashed on it or something?
How do you know about that tradition?
Broken glass, I would assume.
How? That is a thing that we do.
You know how.
Did Mima tell you about that?
I mean, I vaguely remember. I mean, come on.
I'm just trying to understand.
It's so hard to believe that for the past 99 years of my life, that maybe Mima taught me a thing or two.
You're 99 years old.
Yeah, I ain't even in my triple digits yet.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Purser's like 20.
Yeah.
I think
looks at
Sultalis
Bemi
is
with
like
giant
23.
eyes, like you are ancient as they all are.
22.
I
didn't want to imply that. I'm just it's such a random piece of knowledge from our continent that it was weird.
So, are we gonna smash something or not?
No, we're leaving.
All right.
I don't have any champagne anyway.
A bottle of holy water.
That's pretty good.
Oh my god.
It's like a blessing, right? That's
how about I just bless the ship?
You gonna say a little prayer?
Yes.
Yes, we could do that.
I'm doing it right now.
I mean,
it's the wrong
bottle
faith.
though.
Mima's main reason she had told him about this is she was chuckling to herself when a Corvarian cruise ship named the Concordia managed to crash itself because they didn't break a bottle over. But
oh my god.
You're gonna kill Dan.
Anyways, yeah, once you guys have finished whatever various rituals, the Riptider starts to move at Bemi's will. And for those of you who are not piloting it, you're just on it, it doesn't move like most sailing ships, for those of you who've been on them before. Instead, it goes from like unmoving to full speed immediately. This is like electric car acceleration. It's not as fast as a horse's gallop, but it is faster than running and much faster than any water vehicle you have seen before.
Is there inertial dampening, or are we like thrown off our feet?
There's a little bit of it, but it was the dampening in place is kind of there for giants. So
Ah,
it's not as strong as it would be for you guys. So it's kind of assumed they
actually,
can just brace themselves.
no, giants would need even more though,
Would they? I kind
just
of
because
figured
they have
because they're
more
so
mass and more
ungodly
inertia.
strong. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, then I guess you guys are fine. So
What happens is
You're welcome.
we like float for just a second because it's so powerful, and we're like, hold on a second, this is weird.
um,
I'm
yeah, I
just
mean that's
thinking
a
of
good
spam
point.
boats right now. This is the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's anyone who's traveled on an elemental galleon before. Don't Whoever wants to have. They were used sometimes in the war, so maybe Ludger, um, possibly Purser. I don't know.
Brain was
Uh,
kind of landbound.
yeah, yeah. Uh, you recognize the tangible sense of magic in the air as the ship cuts through the murky waters of the river. Um, and yeah, it's just hours of this. The trip downriver is pretty smooth, as the size of your ship combined with its speed seems to dissuade most of the predatory creatures that call it home and probably would be happy to take a whack at you otherwise. Um, about 3 hours in, you do come across a massive tree blocking part of the river. Not a problem for any of the local canoes or the rowboats that you guys have been using to occasionally go this far, but it is an issue for continuing with a ship your size. Um,
How
now,
big a tree are we talking?
um, I would say covering about like little over. It's at kind of a narrow point because that's just where it ended up falling. So it's just big enough to cover like quarter of the river, I'd say.
So Purser's gonna like pop his knuckles and start heading toward the bow.
Okay.
If no one stops him, he's going to start setting it on fire.
Setting what on fire?
The tree.
Uh,
Is there no
okay.
way to move it rather than disrupt the whole environment?
You could move it. Yeah, I mean, you have a crane. You could literally just
Let's just Purser, stop it. We're gonna use a crane. Stop it. No.
Fine, I'll just set something else on fire then. And
God, you sound like a child.
he'll grump away down to the hold and just like start setting like random kindling alight.
There,
Just to see the pretty flames.
there isn't much down there, but yeah, you could definitely you can keep that going on nothing, so you can scorch like part of the metal hull.
No,
Um,
he won't damage the ship. He just wants to like play with matches,
watch it burn.
basically.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Um, so let's see here, you guys. Three
He
hours
doesn't like
in.
boats.
Yeah, they're wet and they get everywhere. All right.
Could I? Is there a lantern that I could give him?
Um,
Well, I
I would
mean,
ask Pick on this one. Pick, is there a lantern that that Purser could be given?
A lantern?
Yeah, I feel like if
He-
there were lanterns, Pick would have them. Like,
She probably has a good knowledge of where they would be on the ship, but she doesn't keep any or anything because she
Hey,
sees in the dark.
can you find
and I
lamp?
Can you find lamp?
I know you
Pick
had a
find
lot
lamp.
of them in your nest. That's why I asked. Like,
Yeah.
you literally bought an Everlight lantern, but you
Oh
could have
yes,
left it.
but yeah, she's not taking that stuff with her. That's for Nest.
Yeah,
But she
exactly.
will go find lamp for them.
Okay,
I'm sure
yeah.
there is a lamp, and I'm sure she can abscond with it.
Yeah, we'll say that you guys did have some basic stuff brought on board. Um, basic supplies for a couple days journey type thing. And yeah, among that is a simple lamp.
She will excitedly go retrieve the lamp and come back. Like, I bring.
Thank you. Hey, Boyster, this is for you so your flame don't die.
so as you say, like he's wearing a just burning flame around his neck.
Clearly, it's not enough.
Doing, Ollie? Hi. So, I mean, he'll unhappily take the lantern, I guess.
Because I know the boats make you nervous. I thought this might help.
It's not that it makes me nervous. I just don't like being on a boat. He's
Um,
like got land legs. He's like rocking back and forth, trying to maintain his balance.
But it's
Uh,
okay. You have a lantern now.
What?
while this conversation is happening, Satalis, give me either a dexterity or intelligence check. Well, intelligence check first to just, it's not a high check, just to figure out pressing buttons to operate the crane. Yeah, it's pretty simple. And interestingly enough, like most of the controls are giant sized, but there is basically a second control panel that is sized smaller near the bottom for some reason. Um, so you could definitely operate this thing.
Okay. I'm gonna give
And
myself guidance for this. Hey,
yeah,
Pick, wanna help?
and yeah, give me
Pickle.
Yeah, I help. I come.
Okay.
we'll say if Pick's helping, she's helping by like sitting on top of the crane and like, no, closer, backer, more backer, sideways.
Yep.
And
And then
uh
a D4.
that's probably a good thing.
12.
Pick probably has really good depth perception.
Oh yeah,
I'm,
like I wouldn't
yeah.
say she didn't. It's the perception isn't the problem, it's communicating it to you people who are like down to the ground. Um
Hi,
but
Ollie.
yeah, so you're able to get it, like you drop it down, you're able to like wrap the cord around it. Um, and as you lift it up, it's not the most great. Like it slams into the side of the ship several times. Um, it like a little embarrassing,
You know
and
what? I
like
don't even care. She
we
doesn't care.
whips around like spraying mud and water everywhere. But yeah, you're able to keep going. What do you do with the log? Do you just like wait until you're going again and just like whip it out into the jungle or something?
I toss it on the side of the river.
Okay, yeah. The enormous splash, it lands there. Um, yeah, they're never mind. I was thinking there might be some water catcher spider eggs there, but they're pretty attentive parents. So, uh, yeah, you guys continue down. And is there anything you wanted to? It's about a 7 hour trip to get to the lake itself. When would you have wanted to leave? Because the drow would have preferred to leave at night, but for those of you who like don't
I'm not
want
gonna
to be
argue with the
blind.
I'm not gonna argue with the drow right now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, then it is a um peaceful night's journey. Like those of you who don't take some preventative measures, the speed of the ship helps, but there is like you're on a tropical like river in the middle of the night. The bugs are pretty impressive as far as just clouds of biting insects.
Can I summon my tower on the deck?
No, I'm gonna
Okay.
preemptively say no on that. I, I am a competent enough DM to say no on that. I know where that leads. Um,
Where does it lead?
that's
I just wanted to win the
I
bugs.
I summon the tower. DM, we hide in the tower and fire out of it. The enemies. I'm
I mean,
sure that's.
it's not even magical. It's just a completely ordinary like house.
I know. I'm just thinking of Tiny Hut, to be honest. Um, but I'm gonna say no on that one. But once you're on solid ground again, it's not an issue. But
Right.
unfortunately, you won't be for the journey. I would say, yeah, it's not anything status wise. It's just incredibly obnoxious.
I
Um,
I will set my tent up on the deck.
okay, yeah, that's fine and dandy. You can absolutely do that. And it helps a little bit. There's enough of a breeze to kind of make it hard to set up initially, but beyond that, it's not too bad. Um, and the two drow do go below deck, just where they hope it gets better. Um, no, it actually would be three because if she sees you have it, Bemi, the court wizard would go down there too. And yeah, but one way or another, it's a pretty uneventful trip. You go by the turn where you can't see the lights of Gelrol, but you know that they're pretty close to the fork point on the river. But going past that, that's further than anyone but Pick has been in this direction. And I'd say by the time you get there, the sun is starting to light up the horizon a little bit. So there is just enough ambient light to kind of make out this river as you see it. Uh, at this point, Lady Wayrub does come up and say, "We should probably stop the ship somewhere on the edge of the lake near around here, since there's a lot of areas that are very overgrown, excellent places to hide, especially on the western shore. Um, since I don't believe you said if there's an 8-hour limit, we won't be able to get to Gwynedd Cole. We'll simply lose power in the middle of the lake, which we won't sink, but if I remember correctly, we'll just sit there. Until we've made any kind of alliance, I'm reluctant to be that open."
Fine.
Okay.
Good either way.
Bemmy, find us a place to park.
Yeah, the river widens out as the ship pushes into Muldsar Lake. It is surprisingly, especially in the morning light, it's pretty beautiful. The water is very clear. The bluish tint to them stretch northward for about 40 miles until they reach the massive Sulcas volcano, which fills a lot of the horizon in that direction. The jungle goes up to the edge for most of the lake shore, but there are some actual like white sand beaches here and there. Um, Lady Wayrub just kind of sighs and looks at the volcano. She says, "You can't see it from here, but the Alum Cusp covers most of the southern slopes. Um, oh, and be very careful about fishing or swimming in the lake. Most of the plants are poisonous, and a lot of the animals are as well. Um, it's the main reason that the Gwynedd clan got so proficient with alchemy, learning to harness the toxic toxins around them. And centuries of dumping their failed potions into the lake haven't made its waters any safer. Plenty of monsters have probably been created from just that." And yeah. So let's see here. Someone besides Bemmy, because he is the pilot, give me a survival check as you're like peering at the lake edge as he's kind of driving along looking for a parking spot.
I
All
mean,
of us except him?
Percy's willing to
Anyone
look, but he's not going to be much help.
anyone besides Bemmy.
Pick can help.
I'm gonna guide myself.
Okay. And
21.
with advantage because Pick is helping.
Oh,
Yeah.
Purser stands next to you,
24.
gazing into the impenetrable darkness.
Yeah, that's
24.
24. Okay, pretty good. 24 and 22 is the same. Yeah, so you're able to find a kind of a natural harbor. It looks like it forks a little bit, not well enough for you to actually like fit in either fork, but um, it does get you out of the immediate line of sight of like someone looking out across the lake, which is really all you can ask for. There's some thanks to the pretty aggressive nature of the plant life. Uh, Looking at it any way that isn't straight in is going to be really hard to see the ship. And yeah, you could go in nose first, or like with this ship, you could literally back in. It's
I would
very
say back in.
controllable.
Like, back in there.
um, it's probably a little unsettling for anyone who's not controlling it to like how this ship moves, because it just doesn't move like ships are supposed to. But yeah, you guys are able to pull in, and it's still pretty dim light. But yeah, you're where you are. Another hour, it'll be probably sunrise. Um, Yeah, do you guys want to do a long rest here, or like how are you going
Sure.
to do this? Those of you who were finally getting back on a daytime schedule, are your your sleep schedule just kind of got screwed with again. But um,
I think
A
we should
long
do a
rest sounds
watch
good.
and a long rest.
okay. So for a
Thank goodness
watch,
for these nifty goggles.
yeah. There's also the tribal drow use the scorpion tribes use a type of oil that you can literally like uh put over your eyes, and it gives you a day's worth of like immunity to the horrible glare. Um, and I'd like to say it's because you just didn't think to ask them, but I just hadn't seen it in the Zendrick guide yet. So if you ever lose the goggles, there is an alternative. Um, but yeah, what's the order you want to do a watch in?
I'll do the first one.
First one, okay. And who is doing second?
And Pick doesn't sleep, so she can do what Pearl does or just
Well,
assist.
yeah, Pearl will assist. So
Okay,
But she can
Just
take a watch.
there's a kitty
So-
cat. I'll take third watch
All right.
because it's the worst one.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so I mean, to be fair though, you'll have gotten a full night's rest at that point. That's 4 hours of sleep for you, or rest. Yeah. So perception 22, and you have advantage, so you can roll again if you'd like. Just see if you get a crit.
22.
22. Okay. Yeah. So as you're there, there's like an odd sloshing, like sound nearby. Um, as like you kind of go over and look over the edge of the ship, and you see almost to the lip of the ship near where the cannon is, um, three like gray blobs that like if they were in the water you wouldn't notice them all. They just seem to be like these blobs sliding towards the cannon. And you hear a similar sound to where the crane is on the other side of the ship.
Guys, there's blobs, and they're gonna try and destroy something.
blobs.
I cast Toll the Dead on one of them.
Well, before we do that, why don't we put you on the map? Because they don't get a surprise round off on
What do you mean there's blobs?
Get up here.
you. All right, let's zoom out. Here's a big map. And yeah. All right. So, for the sake of not having the first like 5 rounds be you guys running, we will say all of you are able to get like, which do you want to take? Do you want to take the groups that are here or the groups that are near the cannon? Because the drow will handle the other ones.
I'll do
Cannon
near the cannon.
seems most.
Yeah, we'll do the cannon.
Cannon. Okay.
If something
Yep.
goes wrong with that, that could be bad.
It's a little spicy. Okay. Let me put these guys in turn order. If everybody could roll and shift.
Initiative. Well, look at me actually in double digits on initiative.
There you go. Right.
So once we get closer, what kind of blobs are we talking here?
Well, that is a good question, and I have answers. Okay. So, these these weird blobs definitely don't seem to have a fixed form, constantly flowing like liquid come to life. A little bit thicker than the elemental. Um, Inside, especially as they like get closer to the cannon, you can see constant ripples of what looks like lightning flowing through them like blood in veins. And I will put an image up. Image, creatures. It is not the huge water elemental. It is. Oh, okay. That's cool. One sec. I just got to grab the image. There you go.
Oh, lovely.
Them's blobs.
Them's his blobs. Yep.
It is pretty blob, like the water from Moana.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely view it as such. They haven't done any hostile actions to you yet, so. And just arrange yourselves however you want, but you're close enough that you don't have to spend turns running to get up here. And what does Ludger want to do?
It is Ludger's turn.
It is.
He will back away and shoot them.
Okay, okay.
He'll shoot this closest one here.
That one? Okay.
The 22 to hit.
That definitely hits.
6 piercing damage.
Okay, I'm just looking here.
And 13 to hit.
Hits.
Does this crossbow have a bayonet?
It does, indeed.
Okay, and then he will step in and bayonet it.
Okay.
17 to hit.
That, also hits. There's a... Like, his crossbow seems to draw its attention pretty well, as the sparks seem sympathetic.
Okay. That'll be it for Ludger for now.
What's the damage for the second shot?
Oh, did it, the 13 hit?
13 hit? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
7.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. It is Purser's turn. What would you like to do?
Well, Purser is... He's kind of bummed out about not getting to burn the tree. So he's going to burn everything else instead.
Okay. Fair enough.
Oh, that.
And by the way, it has not been a long rest. You guys didn't get the advantage of one. Which is rude, but given how quickly you made work of the water elemental, I don't feel too bad.
So yeah, he's going to cast a Shardalon Stride as he moves between the elementals.
So there's more fire on deck, yeah.
Yes. And they're each going to take 5 fire damage.
They don't like that. Alright, I'll take that off.
And he will... Green Flame Blade attack the one between him and Ludger.
Okay. With advantage.
That is a critical hit.
There you go, yeah. That definitely hits.
So that is 13 piercing damage. Oh, no, it rolled it already. So 16 piercing damage.
Okay.
Plus 9 fire damage.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have resistance to it or anything. It hits just like the piercing did.
Yeah, just slash through it and I guess stab through it. I was using the rapier. And it burst into flames.
Yeah.
Which
they
lick gently at Ludger's face, but don't harm him.
Okay. There's a D&D quote. All right.
And he will continue and move next to this one, provoking attacks opportunity from the other two, should they desire.
They will gladly do that. They're not deep thinkers.
And then the third one will also take 6 fire damage.
18 and 11 to hit.
The 18 hits.
Okay.
The 11
9 lightning.
misses.
And yeah, fire continues to spread. Pretty
I will make
interesting
a
if you spread it on the
Constitution
cannon.
saving. Well, it's only if it's flammable objects.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah. The deck is not flammable. It is very,
Yeah,
very not
that's
flammable.
the only reason I did that.
That would have been great doing that on a ship otherwise. Get him off the ship! I don't care
No.
how.
No. That's why he doesn't like boats.
Yeah. Oh, see, this boat was built custom for you. Then you could view it that way.
Yeah,
That'll
that'll
but,
be it for Purser.
Cool. Satalis, what would you like to do?
Back up a little bit. And then I'm going to cast Toll the Dead on the one in front of Rigger.
Yes.
I would just like to mention I didn't actually provoke an opportunity attacks there.
Oh, okay. Oh, because of Ashlon Stride. All right, then just
Yeah.
add your 9
Sorry.
lightning. Yeah, add the 9 back on.
And they still have their reactions.
He's good. They don't have a 10-foot reach, sadly. So, but yeah, wisdom save. Let's see how wise these boys are. Not terribly wise. All right, let's see. Okay, with a -3, they got a crit, so 17. I'm sorry.
Yep, that's my turn.
Okay. All right. This one here is, despite Purser poking it, Purser, you did that and left. It's pretty fixated on Ludger. It's going to move here first, sitting on the cannon, which it seems very excited about. Attack Ludger. Yeah, it's just like it's not even so much an attack as just the pseudopod kind of reaches out and gently touches Ludger's face, and Ludger needs to make a con saving throw as just immediately a circuit is made and lightning pours into him. Okay, that's good. Failed save or half as much. Okay.
It's alive!
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so you take half of that. That's good. He takes 16 lightning damage.
Oh,
As yeah, and it actually stops like glowing briefly and just returns to a like very dull gray. Although you can see sparks on the platform it's sitting on seem to be flowing into it. And yeah, that's its turn. Let's see. You're not very interesting, but you are here. Gonna go here and do the same to you. It's gonna discharge. Will that do the roll for me, or do I still have to do it again? Oh, it did. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I need a con saving throw as it like slithers up past your sword, touching your arm.
it's 18.
18. Okay. Yeah. Once again, you pass. It's a good thing. Let me half that. And that was good damage on that one. 11 lightning damage.
Ugh, I do
And
not like that.
yeah, that's this one's turn. Smart thing would be to do that, but it's not going to. It's going to go here because motivations. It's gonna. Yeah, it's let's see, ionic form. Yeah, it's just gonna discharge on Ludger as well. So another con save. They really want that crossbow of his.
17.
Okay. 9 lightning damage.
Yep.
Yeah. they feel okay about it. Well, as much as they feel anything. And Pick, what would you like to do? They seem to be like making Ludger dance.
Weird.
He keeps like spasming and doing a little weird happy dance.
Oh my gosh, sorry, my map is being goddamn dragged to the side. Whatever. Okay, I'm just gonna move my character sheet.
You can
I'm going
pop it out if
to
need be.
shoot at the swamp,
Okay.
and I will not move to get the steady aim.
Okay. That hits.
Ammo. It's not what I wanted to hit. Sorry, that was just a random click moving my sheet.
Good.
Yep, and she's just gonna try and help Ludger
He's
with the
fine.
2 he's got.
Okay. Nice.
That is all the excitement I've got to offer.
All right. What does Ludger want to do? It's time. Oh, wait a minute. Why didn't Bemmy go? Bemmy, you should do stuff. We skipped you.
He's not on initiative.
Yeah, Bemmy,
Whoa.
roll initiative.
I rolled like a 31. No
I believe
way.
you. Just,
All right.
where is it? I don't. We'll give you 2. We'll give you 2 turns. That's what we'll do.
Hold on a second.
Latent favoritism.
Yep, I know. I should take his turn. Okay, you got
That's pretty good.
32. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's fine. There's no tangible difference there. Go ahead and do stuff. I was like, wait a minute. There's 5 people doing things.
Well, we're trying to kill these blue things here. Is that what?
Yeah, I mean, you could try and shoo them away. They might be reasonable.
Do they speak primordial?
Probably not.
Then I'm gonna shoot them. Okay.
The fair bet they don't speak anything. And this counts as your first round, so yeah, you get your 3.
Hooray!
Okay.
14
all
is
of
the
those hit.
lowest.
All those hit.
Oh wow.
They're blobs of goo. They're not very hard.
And can I want to use a bow charge
Okay.
to make him sad.
Okay. This go ahead and put that up. I want to see if they're capable of this range of emotion.
Yeah. Okay. It's from his bow.
Their lives are pretty simple. Oh, here, wait a minute. I can do it. Bow of Bemmy's
Yeah.
spare. No,
There we
that's
go.
damage. There we go. Disregard that damage I rolled. Okay, memory bond. Blah 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 blah.
DC 13 charisma saving throw. So who knows?
Yeah, and it doesn't say anything about an int, so it doesn't matter how stupid you are. You can feel sad. Okay. Charisma saving throw.
It doesn't matter how stupid you are. You can still feel sad.
Okay, with a -4, it did not pass. So
movement speed is reduced to 10 feet unless already lower.
all right, yeah, I'm gonna put a sad face on him. There we go.
Disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks.
Right. Nice. Okay.
Well, if it's prone. I don't know if that can be prone, but it is.
I don't
creature
think
fails.
it can be. Let me check. See here. Yeah, it literally can't be
I
prone,
didn't.
but that's a fair
I didn't
guess.
think so. I'm like, well,
Worth it. No, it's worth checking.
I've never seen Gak go prone before. It just
Yeah, it's just Gak. But yeah, you have a double round because I ignored you the first time.
well, I'm gonna shoot him
Okay.
2 more times.
Technically, I should change your initiative to 32, but I don't think it makes a huge difference. Oh hey, the second one misses.
Okay. 11 points piercing.
I assume the same one.
Yes, of course.
Kick him while he's down. All right. What does Ludger want to do? He's just been shocked pretty well.
Yep, he's gonna keep shooting. That's what he's gonna do. Where's his sheet? There we go. Okay. So he's gonna shoot the sad one. Put it out of its misery.
It's hard to tell how a slime can be sad, but the
Look.
lightning forms a frowny face in it. That's what we'll say.
I don't make the rules.
And yeah,
18 to hit.
that hits. Yeah.
Okay. 12 piercing.
Okay. Still up.
19 to hit
Also hits.
for 10 piercing.
Still up.
And he will bayonet it. 15 to hit.
Yeah, it also hits.
4 piercing.
How do you want to do it? That's exactly enough.
So he shoots it twice and then just like starts smushing it down into the the brass work on the cannon with the butt of his crossbow.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it still seems to be trying to pull like ambient energy from the cannon, but it's been reduced too much. It's in too many pieces. It just can't pull itself together. And
Yeah.
it just squishes into a thin film and can't seem to pull itself together.
And he'll move to there.
Okay. And anything else?
Nope, that'll be it.
Okay. Purser, what would you like to do?
Purser will first off stab the one in front of him with green flame blade
Probably a good idea. Yeah.
with a 9 to hit, which
One
I
sec.
assume misses.
Yeah, it does not hit, sadly.
And then he will move to here. Oh, actually, he had advantage. Oh, 10 still misses.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that's why I looked at that. I was like, I'm not gonna correct him. It's a miss.
Yeah. And then he'll move to there. They'll each take 1d6 fire damage. 5.
Okay. Continuing
And
to not like that.
let's see, does he have any bonus action things to do? Nope. Okay. That'll be it.
Okay, now we take 5 off this. Oh, hey, I've evened out. All right. Then Siltalis, what would you like to do?
Oh, we're just gonna toll a dead on one that's been hurt.
Okay. Wisdom save. All right. Let's see here. I will say it's the closer one if you don't care.
Not
Wisdom.
really.
Nice.
The one next to Purser would probably be good, just because he's gonna find a way to get himself killed.
Liquor is the one who's taken more damage so far.
I'm offended and not amused.
How dare you? Let's see.
I already know all the ways to kill myself.
Why is it not rolling? Okay, I guess I'll just roll a d20 and see if that rolls. Oh, okay, it's just the whole thing froze for me. Okay, that was awesome. It's all right, I'm resetting the page. Wow. Well, if it had to happen, this is not a bad time. So with a 12, it failed.
Good.
So
It takes
13.
11 damage.
All right, I'll
13 necrotic damage. Sorry.
yeah, I'll subtract that when Roll20 is working for me again. But anything else you'd like to do?
Nope, that's it. Actually, no. I'll cast Healing Word on Rudger.
Okay.
You were the one who's like, oh, he's more hurt. Okay.
No, I was not.
That was me, technically. All right.
And it was proportionally correct.
Do you need
That's
healing?
kind of correct.
Well, no, but
It's the
I have 21
principle of
hit
the thing.
points.
Do you need healing? Well, no. That's great. All right.
10 healing for Rigor.
All
Oh,
right.
10? Oh, I see.
So, this thing is going to bonus action recharge, so it starts sparkling again. It's going to
No.
reach out and start trying to strangle Ludger with sparky noises. Honestly, it's mostly strangling is a hard word. It just seems to be trying to grab his crossbow, and it's incidentally shocking the hell out of him. Yeah, con saving throw from Ludger.
Okie dokie. 21.
13 lightning damage.
Yep.
Yeah, that's its turn. This one bonus action starts sparkling again, and then it's going to. Honestly, yeah, it's just gonna hit Ludger too. Like he's in range. Another con save. They really want that crossbow.
16.
Also passes, so 15 lightning damage.
Okay, now Ludger is more injured than I am.
And yeah, that's its turn. Pick. What'd you like to do?
The most exciting thing in the world.
Hop into the cannon, fire it. Okay.
That would be joy.
Sadly, like it does swivel, but it has kind of a limited arc. You can't
It wouldn't
swivel
be
it so the
fun.
cannon is pointed past these lines. The design, like it was designed so you can't fire it back towards the ship. But yeah. Anyways,
Pew,
with a
pew.
21, that definitely hits. Who are you firing at?
The one next to Purser.
Purser. Gotcha. Okay. 16. All good. It doesn't have resistance to non-magical damage for once, so that's good. There we go. Anything else?
That is all the excitement I have.
Okay, Bammy, what'd you like to do?
I'm gonna shoot
Okay.
this
Oh
one
wait,
here.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you off. I promise. So we're 2 minutes away from the end. We're gonna end it for here, and we'll come back.
It's totally fair. I'm at the
Yeah.
top of the order.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna quickly. Guys, just write your initiative order in because tomorrow's I'll have to clear initiative for the once a month game. So just write like Bemmy 22, Ludger 20. You know what? I
Where
can
are
do
you
that.
putting this? In our chat?
I'll put it here. 1 second.
We'll put it in notes, I guess.
I got it.
Okie dokie.
Okie
Here, I
dokie.
can make it even easier. I got you.
Thank you.
Please have this beautiful, beautiful screenshot.
Okay, perfect. All right, then I
Fun.
am going to preemptively clear it out because, like I said, I'll need it tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for running.
Thanks for running.
Yeah, it's also once again thank you for engaging the political stuff. I
Mhm.
was a little gun shy about it after my last experience with political stuff, but
I
I was like,
love political intrigue.
yeah, I mean there's gonna be a lot of it amongst the clans. That's kind
okay.
of the focus.
Fun. Even Bemmy got a conversation in. It was nice.
All right.
So-
Catch you guys later.
Yep.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
guys.
Be safe.
next time.